Three, two, one. Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to episode 271 of the KBMOD podcast. It is March 26th, 2017. And this is a very exciting and special episode. And I'm glad I did my research before this intro myself, because I could have sworn that we had the man, the myth, the legend, Hutch. And not the Hutch, again, this is going to get confusing. And not Brad, not Hutchison15, okay? Not the fake Hutch, though I do love him very dearly. But the real Hutch on the cat. We've done 270 episodes up until this point. And I was like, C. Nanners was on here. We had Sark on here. I was like, I must have just missed it. Like, it has to be here. But I couldn't find it. And truth be told, he was never on. And he's here with us tonight. So, Hutch, how you doing, buddy?
Good to be here. Thank you to all you gentlemen for having me on here.
Yeah,
I'm doing well.
Of course. Thanks for coming on. Long overdue, I would say, especially considering the relation. Like, we pretty much most people here. I've known you for a long time. I've been doing this a bit, so
you might actually be the person we've known the longest in this space who has never been on the cast.
Exactly.
Who else would even beat me though? I'd have to be.
Yeah, I don't think anybody.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, we've known.
It's been a long time coming.
It's good.
Anyways,
it's good to
glad to remedy that. That's good.
Yes,
good.
I'm glad. Yes, I'm glad you're here.
Now,
But
with that, we announce the end of the KBMOD podcast.
and we're done.
Oh no.
No, we're just replacing. The question is who we're replacing. So this is just this is Hutch's first episode on the cast. Welcome.
That's right.
Yes.
But is he replacing Scott, or is he
We'll
replacing?
We'll call it a trial run.
Yeah.
It just depends on how this goes.
Yeah.
I can
see.
see.
The audience say they like me more than Scott. Then
Right.
who am I to turn down their request for me?
That's
to
true.
replace
We'll need to take a survey at the end of this episode. See which
drop,
one you're going to replace.
And also, I can see already in chat I'm getting roasted for saying, how can I call anyone a fake Hutch? Of course, judging from my career history. And that is a fair point. So, also, Hutch, I don't know if you've seen, you watch over me. Can you see on my webcam? Displayed over my face.
I can now. Yeah, it's a little bigger on the. Wow, look at that.
He has been on the podcast before in some form.
Yeah, I actually have a cardboard cutout / little photo of Hutch on my wall, and it just reminds me to always watch my back. It reminds me to watch my back. It's a metaphor for me. No.
What he doesn't know is I actually have a life-size cutout of him, but it's behind my monitors, so you never see it on the cast.
I've got a Japanese body pillow of Hutch on my bed, somewhat out of frame. We don't
just have it facing you so that it's always looking at you. So you're always assessing the threat level.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's just grimacing at me. It's got its arms crossed.
Also, the cutout I have of you is fully nude, so it's not appropriate for stream.
Oh my!
But also very impressive.
It is impressive. They had to use a lot of cardboard for the genital area. But anyway, let's move on. This is basically just becoming a little weird. But everybody here this week, of course. Brandon, last week you were traveling, so you're back. Actually, you just got back today, an hour ago or so, 2 hours ago.
Yeah, I just flew in a little while ago. So I wouldn't miss the special episode.
Tired. Yeah. Your arm's tired, dude?
We're
just going to let that.
Always.
Okay. Just making sure. Sorry, I just had to get the dad joke in. It's terrible. Let's move on.
Anybody else terrified of flying?
You know
what's weird? The last time I flew, I was just thinking about it. It's like, I'm strapped in this vacuum tube of just like there's two explosive wings right on both sides of me. Like it is kind of terrifying. Like
I'm not scared because I'm wearing a seatbelt, so it's fine.
Yeah, you're fine. If you go down.
I hate
if you have like a handle on the top, then you're nothing.
Do you have any? What do you do? Like, so I mean, you fly a decent amount, especially for for the stuff you do now, like appearances or whatever, going to cons. Like, what do you have any remedies or stuff that'll help calm you down? Do you have like a routine you do for flying? You just panic.
I just freak out pretty much the whole time.
Just pure agony.
I avoid it. My plan is to avoid flying when I can, so I'll drive to Southern California instead of flying. So it's like a 6-hour drive.
Yeah.
And I've gotten really familiar with the 5 at this point, and I understand that it's more dangerous statistically to be driving in a car, but that doesn't matter to me. At least I have control of the steering wheel.
No, it is. It's totally about just relinquishing all control and realizing that if something happens, you have zero say. You can't. Because even if you're behind the wheel and you get hit by somebody else, part of you feels like, well, maybe I could have done something. Or I mean, like you said, statistically, that doesn't really change anything. But no, I know that. No, I haven't had really like. I hate flying. I just hate the whole germ part. I'm not a germaphobe, I don't think, but the whole sitting in the plane as it's warming up, especially if it's warm outside and the air conditioning is not or whatever, and people are coughing, just like visualizing how sick I'm getting sitting next to, or people will bring on McDonald's or like sandwiches from home. I've had so many fucked up experiences with people trying to I must look like I'm a fat guy clearly, but I must just look like I'm just waiting for somebody on planes to hand me a fucking sandwich. Cause I can't tell you how many times like people just see me. I guess I seem like a nice guy, like unassuming. They can talk to me and they offer me food like halfway through a conversation. And it's like something they made at home. And it's not like, I never take it because I'm like, well, I don't know where that was. Like I appreciate the gesture, but that's such a turnoff to me. I don't know. Maybe
people don't talk to me or engage with me because as soon as I get on the plane, I have my headphones on and that like sleeping eye mask. So I send a real clear signal.
That's what I need to start doing.
This is a real private time for me. I need to focus on keeping my heart rate down. Any kind of conversation could be too much stimuli. So
that's smart.
That's what I try and do is I just keep the headphones in, and if I have to remove them, it's quickly. And then I put them right back in, even if I'm not listening to anything. I don't want to talk to people on planes.
Yeah, I want to say, yeah.
You put the headphones in without even having music on. I've done that a bunch actually.
Oh yeah, that's it just it helps people. People don't realize just how antisocial I want to be on a plane, but but that's a little secret that only listeners here get to know.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. No, I told a story a couple weeks ago about how I had this really awkward interaction in my apartment complex in elevators. And so as much as you hate flying, I hate the brief interactions in elevators to almost that same level. And I've gotten I don't know what it is, man. I'm generally pretty good, but I will go out of my way to the point, Hutch, that I will have fake telephone conversations to look like I have to be pulled away from an elevator that is someone else is getting into. And I don't know. I haven't quite gotten to the cause of it yet. But no, the headphone thing has been clutch really recently. I've been carrying headphones everywhere. And so anytime I'm getting in an elevator in my apartment, I'm like, I can have them ready. Like I'll have them in my ears and not plugged into anything. And I haven't, and you're right, I haven't had any interactions since then.
I actually really like making awkward conversation in elevators.
Do you?
I do, yeah. I like it. I like feeling like it's not awkward and funny while other people, you can tell that they think it's awkward.
Yeah,
I don't know. Something about that exchange is just funny to me.
Okay, so I need to be able to get to that point. Maybe I just need exposure therapy. Maybe I should come to you and, well, I'll say I know you, so it wouldn't be awkward, but you could just put people I don't know in front of me and make me talk to them. I need to do something.
You just speak loudly, project, and make witty banter. Do what you do best. You got a fucking podcast. You know what the deal is.
Yeah, I should. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Why I have such a hang up. I've gone to therapy before. I usually I should probably just talk about it with my shrink and see what they say. I haven't brought it up recently, but so yes, I have considered therapy. Chat. Thank you for the chiming in on that. Okay. But yeah, so we've got Brandon here. Glad you're here. Katie Zen, how's your week going, dude? What's been happening with you?
It's been going pretty great, actually. I've had a pretty enlightening weekend. I ate at Denny's for the first time.
Oh, yes.
Almost changed
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Wow.
Oh, it was excellent.
What did you get?
In a miracle of a morning, I got it was the bourbon chicken skillet, which is, it's got chicken and this bourbon sauce, potatoes, broccoli, peppers, onions. An absolute delight. It was delicious, and it was less than $10. Yeah. That's another thing about America's Diner. Just the price is just so pleasant. But the real highlight, unfortunately, of the morning. So after I finished eating, I immediately had to take a shit. I always have to take a shit after I eat. It always happens. Okay. And so, and I was lucky enough to be in the bathroom alone. Because I can't go when there are other people in the stall or other people in the room.
I relate to that too.
Not the same stall, no.
I definitely have trouble going with other people in the same stall.
Usually there's not enough room to fit both your asses on the toilet.
Very end, it's just like more spacious than the others. We kind of hop in that one. No, but yeah. Anyway, I was the first one.
Yeah.
The only one in the bathroom for the duration of my time.
Right.
And I was just finishing up, and just as I'm putting my clothes back on, I hear somebody. Well, let me rephrase.
You have to strip down for this shit.
No. As I'm,
it's hot and heated in there.
Are you like the guy at the kid that when you sat next to him or were peeing next to him in the urinal in grade school, he would like lift his shirt all the way up to his chest and pull his pants all the way down? There were those kids, man.
Yeah, you can see their butts as you're walking. I would just usually turn around. I would just turn around and go out. I'm like, I don't know.
I remember. No, let me rephrase. As I'm putting my pants back on,
if anyone comes into the story, it's like you met up at at an adult film store or like a glory hole spot. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but no. Just as I'm about to walk out, I hear another person enter the room. It's kind of rushed steps, and I listen, and all I hear is like,
oh.
And he enters the stall next to me. I see feet in front of the toilet. He's standing up to the toilet, vomiting, and he then starts to piss. And I'm just all I hear is oh Lord, have mercy. And so, and then I realized,
and you don't want to say anything. You don't want to make any noise because then it's awkward for him. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, so you just gotta sit there in silence.
Well, they're like people who. I get the feeling that some people just don't care. Like he was really, I feel like regardless how many people would have been in there, he would have been exerting himself like that. But no, I realized he's standing in front of the toilet, peeing and vomiting at the same time. And I'm just thinking, what kind of spectacular aim do you have to have?
Yeah,
that's does he like to not get any of the vomit on your clothing? So he's just, and then he starts moaning. Like as he's going, he's letting out Niagara Falls of a piss, just moaning, and my fight or flight instincts kick in. I immediately chose flight, and I'm trying to wash my hands to get out of there. He exits the stall behind me. For a split second, I considered saying like, "Are you good, man?" or throwing out one of those. I see he has had sunglasses on. He stumbles out, and he makes eye contact with me. And I'm like, okay, I don't have all the soap off my hands, so I need to get out of here. So that was a pretty, it's a dangerous situation, but
I relate to that. I relate to the whole experience of not wanting to have that isolation. Like I love shitting at home. I like to have it be a process. I try to avoid shitting in public as much as possible, but you're right, and it's always things like that really leave an impression on you.
Yeah. But the real. But to really seal off the day, I actually ended up going to Denny's a second time.
What? The same day?
Yeah, the same day. The people were coming back from a concert.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Exactly. Because I didn't know they were open 24 hours.
Oh my goodness.
What a miracle.
Where have you been?
I don't know.
This is what I mean, Katie, when I say you are just like, if you imagine you're a canvas, you are like the top left corner of you has been brushed with like a light yellow oil paint, and the rest there's so much to work with.
So much left to fill in.
Yeah.
But no, I that time I got the Gouda chicken and rice skillet, just as fantastic. So yeah, that was pretty good.
So you really did it. You really went the 2-in-1 day thing. Okay, and so what would you rate Denny's out of 10 now? Would you say?
I mean, I can't really think of any inherent really negatives. I mean, I haven't really. There's more of their menu I need to try out, but there wasn't really something I didn't like. I just thought I had a negative reaction to Denny's.
Right.
I don't know.
That's good. Well, I mean, not even the experience of a guy vomiting and pissing in the toilet at the same time made you go.
Yeah, that kind.
I mean, maybe his batch of food wasn't the best.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about that. Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
But it was pretty great. And then I also went to go see the new Power Rangers. I don't know if any of you guys saw that at all.
Oh, how was that?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. If you're a Power Rangers fan, that movie was awesome.
Well, it got delayed because they redid the edit, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing in the trailers and stuff they did a lot of post FX updates and stuff to the movie that people were like, yeah, and I heard that like somehow like people are speculating like Deadpool's success because I think they were saying that they changed the rating on the movie too, or they're reshooting or something. Maybe I'm thinking of Logan. I don't remember, but
I mean, now that you say that, there was like a surprising amount of like mature dialogue and stuff in the movie, like for Power Rangers. Right?
Well, I was surprised that it was rated PG-13. Yeah, when I saw the trailer.
Yeah, it was a hard PG-13. It felt like. Okay. But still a pretty good movie.
Can you tell me what it means when you say you'll like it if you're a Power Rangers fan? What does that mean? Because after watching the Power Rangers marathon, I was into Power Rangers for the first few seasons when I was a kid, and I didn't even realize that there were all of these different iterations of Power Rangers. And so what, like, are you talking about if I'm an original Power Rangers fan or if I'm a fan of whatever came afterward?
I mean, let me clarify. Like, I've only ever seen Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and just seeing like, they reintroduce like a lot of the characters, but they kind of switch it up a bit. Like, they expand more on like, God, I sound like ultra nerd saying this, but they really expand on Zordon's backstory. But they kind of that character you really wanted to learn a lot about, and Bryan Cranston did a good job. But yeah, it was just it did feel like a little bit rushed, but because like they're 5 Rangers, they all kind of got introduced like pretty quickly, except for maybe the first 3. Kind of like the pacing there was a bit off, like, but I still really enjoyed the movie. And if you watch Power Rangers when you were a kid, then you're expecting like, when's like a Megazord is going to make an appearance or something, and like there's just a lot of little things that. I mean, if you've never seen Power Rangers before, I think you're still gonna like the movie. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Hello, can you guys hear me now?
No,
I can hear you now.
Yep.
Okay, there we go.
Couldn't hear you before.
Great news.
I think you're back. Yes.
Cool. All right.
Cool.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you sound a little quiet, but I can hear you. We can maybe bump you a bit. How does it sound on your end, Brandon? Because you're running the call.
Right. You sound all right.
Okay. Yeah, maybe bumping a bit.
Oh, there we go. Let me try and turn it up on my end.
Okay. You do sound a little bit closer to the mic now, which is good. You were a little bit further away, so don't worry. I'll edit all this out in the power of, editing. I don't know what I was going to say. I was looking for a word besides editing, but I'm editing all this out.
You needed a synonym, and you couldn't find one.
I couldn't find it, and now this is live, and I can't edit this, but I can edit the afterwards.
I'll try to keep my mouth like close to the mic when I talk.
Yeah. That's fine. It almost sounds like it's noise gating or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I had to switch to the Astro just because the Audio Technica is not working for some reason. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. I can hear you. That's fine. All right, but we were.
How many people saw Power Rangers? Was it just KD?
I think so.
I think it's just KD so far. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw it a couple days.
No.
It was all right. I think everybody's kind of jizzing all over it because it's not terrible.
Yeah.
Because it's not terrible, but I'm not going to say it's great.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
you feel like you got worth the price of it. Like for the ticket, you were like, okay, like it was enjoyable enough. Glad you saw it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I saw it. I mean, like it takes a while for the action to pick up. Like, well, I don't want to give away too much, but it's not. There's not a whole lot of morphing and mighty.
Oh, really? There's all the good stuff.
There's really not. It's like
there's just so much character building.
Yeah.
But
is there a sex scene in the movie?
No.
I mean, you don't have to. Okay. But there's some romance, I'm assuming.
There are implied sexual scenes.
Okay.
Sort of.
That's
exciting. Yeah, I mean, it's an enjoyable movie, but I think like if you really went hard analytical on like the structure of it, it's got plenty of problems, but at the end of the day, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. Okay.
I saw what's the other one that came out this weekend?
Life?
Yeah, I saw that one.
How was that?
No, it's not
really?
good. No. Like you see it in the trailers too. It looks like every other Alien movie you've ever seen. It's not.
Did they basically show what the movie is? Because I remember I saw the trailer and I was like, yeah, that's what it felt like. Like
100% from almost start to finish. They show like everything. Not a good movie.
Yeah, that's too bad. Can't wait for Covenant though.
That's going to be solid. Yeah, I liked Prometheus. I don't know about you guys, but
I still have not seen Prometheus, Alien 3, or Alien Resurrection. I need to get caught up.
You can skip Alien Resurrection and Alien 3 from what I hear, because I hear the third one sucks.
Okay.
Too? Didn't he direct that? And that's why it's...
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he directed the third one.
Because I remember seeing, I think I might have seen the first half of Alien 3 and thought, it was all just setup, so I thought it was decent, but I'm not sure. I'll look it up here if someone else wants to.
I distinctly remember driving. I think I saw Prometheus with Sark, and he was so upset. I think he drove, and I was scared. I wasn't sure if I was going to get home alive. Not so much that he hated. I don't remember. I don't know if he's changed his tune on it. I'm pretty sure it was Sark, but I remember Hutch him not. He was pretty kind of flabbergasted about the way that it went, just as it pertains to the rest of the franchise. He kind of was like,
that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, but I didn't know. Overall, I didn't. I enjoyed Prometheus. Yeah, I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah, Alien 3 was by David Fincher, who did Seven and Fight Club, and Gone Girl. So yeah, it was a different director.
Gotcha. Okay, so you saw that. Anything else going on? I guess
that's
we'll just.
Much it.
Okay, so that's a lot for you, though. I mean, that's a lot.
That's
you went to Denny's twice.
Week.
Yeah, that is a full week for you. So did you have to?
Sure.
How were your movements were after the Denny's? I'm not. They were good. They weren't painful, like Taco Bell shits or anything.
Think about did you ever play Dark Souls where you open up the gates and all the water comes gushing out when you unflood that entire city?
I have never played Dark Souls because
I'm talking about a city's worth of water just gushing out at this small gate at immense pressure. That's somewhat how it was.
Okay, that's good.
But is that normal? Is that
That's about every day. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wow,
it's a nice movement. All right.
Yeah, someone else talk, please.
We're just gonna let that sit out there. That's fine. Brad, what about you? How was your week?
My week wasn't nearly as exciting as that. I've been playing a ton of games, but I've been trying to watch the new Top Gear, which is it's all right without Chris Evans. I've been kind of eyeing the new Chappelle series on Netflix. I haven't watched it yet, but I was kind of watching. Was it pretty good?
Yeah, yeah, they were good. They're different from his earlier stuff, but I mean, his earlier stuff was a decade ago at this point.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty good. I need to go back and listen to his old stuff to even remember. I just remember it was good, but I don't actually remember the stand-up that well. But I thought both of them were pretty good. The second one's a little bit better, I think. But they were strong.
Yeah.
Worth
They're
watching.
both great. I loved him, man.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah. He's still got it, for not having done stand-up for so long. He's still just as funny as he used to be.
And one of them, he talks about Bill Cosby for 10 minutes.
Oh man,
just to make it funny throughout the whole, and he keeps on coming back to it. You gotta watch it, man. It's good.
He's really good at tying the set together, and I just feel like he's one of those comedians that you can tell it's the way that he's the jokes he's doing, the order he tells them, and all that. It seems very intentional because he ties it he kind of ties it all up. But yeah, they're really good. I definitely recommend watching them.
Do you guys know how to turn the noise gate off on this microphone? Maybe I could turn it off. You don't know.
It might be a Skype option.
I feel like it's a Skype option
within you.
Yeah. Hold on.
Because I uncheck the automatically adjust microphone setting in Skype.
Do you turn
that?
Yeah. Do you turn the blue dot up to high or down to low?
Well, that's the volume, right? So.
Oh, that's volume. That's not the threshold.
No, but I would just uncheck automatically adjust microphone settings there.
Yeah.
Does anyone in chat work at Astro Technical Support? Can help us out.
Get him in here. Yeah, I have that unchecked as well. I have my volume. I have my volume on high as well, but I don't. Yeah, that's just the volume. I don't think that.
Does that do anything? I just turned a knob. Does that do anything?
You
that's all right.
Sound all right to me.
You sound all right
good.
Now.
Yeah.
You sound good now.
Okay.
I think you're fine. Oh my God,
listen
guys!
to the chat. They don't know what they're talking about, so
it's all right. I'm gonna. It's all good. Okay, so all right. Well, that's good.
How was your week, APL?
How was my week? Great question. Thank you for asking. No, my week was pretty good overall. I'm trying to think if I had anything too crazy. Nothing as exciting as the crazy elevator ride 2 weeks ago that I'm still trying to get over. Still trying to recover from that whole experience. No, but I had a pretty good week.
Don't you have a tournament coming up that you're casting or something like that for your subs?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean eventually, but not. If you're talking about Changbang, is that what you're talking? Well, I mean, there's going to be a Rocket League Changbang, if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, is that like the next couple weeks or something?
Yeah, that's coming up in a little bit. I'm not casting that though. That's on it. It's a whole other because I don't play Rocket League really.
I was just about to ask. Do you play?
I don't play it, so it's just people in my chat that are gonna. It's actually gonna be on its own channel as a separate thing. But
oh wow, okay.
But yeah, that's
I did not.
But we're also gonna do CS. Another CS tournament at some point or invitational kind of thing.
Because I'm casting the Rocket League tournament, and I didn't know it was going to be on your channel.
It's not going to be on my channel. I said it's going to be it's going to be on its own. It's going to be on its own thing. So, right. But yeah, that's happening. Thank you for the self promotion though, Brad. I appreciate you just pitching that up to me to just serve it up. Yeah, check out Changbang. But no, I had a pretty good week as far as like movies or television shows or whatever. I'm in this weird void right now where when I do have time to watch television, I really enjoy watching just really shitty reality TV, just really wasting my time.
Yeah, I bet you do.
I do. And like, so when I have actual time where I could sit and watch something of value, I find myself just watching the next episode of whatever the fucking Duggars nightmare is and just analyzing how terrible the show is.
The worst.
I am the worst, but I enjoy it.
How is that show still going? Is it still going?
Well, it doesn't follow like the main family anymore. It follows like the daughters who are getting married from the Duggars family, and it's so incredibly bad that it's hard to not watch. Like they'll make an entire episode out of them like going to a restaurant because they've never eaten a kind of steak before. So I imagine it'd be similar to like if Katie Zen got a reality show. But, no, I'm kidding. But no, it's just so I'm just fascinated with that. I've been watching that. I watch like stuff like Catfish. So I'm just in this hole of like I'm so behind on actual things that I want to watch that I'm too intimidated to start anything. So I don't know. I think I need a bit of an intervention. I need someone to come in and be like, all right, like, okay, you know what, Hutch, you tell me, you know what, Hutch is here. I respect Hutch's opinion. Not that I don't respect your guys, but what should, on Netflix, hit me with the series and I'll tell you if I've watched it. And like, what would you say? Something from Netflix that's like a must watch in your opinion. And I'll start that.
Bloodline is pretty good.
Yeah, Bloodline's good.
I've not seen it.
There's another one called Broadchurch, which is pretty good. I think that's from I think it's an English show, but it has the guy who was the bad guy in Jessica Jones, and he was also one of the Doctor Who's, I think. And,
David Tennant.
Yeah, that guy. He's real good in that.
Okay.
Have you ever watched Fargo? If you have Hulu, I think Fargo. Both the seasons of Fargo.
So good.
I have not seen Fargo. I don't have Hulu, but
you should. It's like $8. Anyways, just find a way to watch that because Fargo is one of my favorite shows on TV right now. And then I've been rewatching Game of Thrones, getting ready for.
Oh God!
I blew my load too early though, because I've gone through all 6 seasons in the last week and a half. So it's just always on in my apartment when I'm doing shit.
Dude, you never want to blow your load.
Well,
never. I mean,
I don't know where I was going with that, but
is that how you live your life, Katie? I'm confused.
When does Game of Thrones return? Because I've been kind of thinking to myself that I need to catch up. Because honestly, is it July? Okay.
No, did they say July or June?
I'm gonna Google it right now. I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I'll probably watch.
I really fell off with Game of Thrones. I was super into it for the first what season are we up to now? I think I watched
7.
This is the 7th.
4 seasons, and I just kind of fell off from it. I don't know why. I just
not as many boobs as you were hoping for.
I'm not sure. That was the only reason I was watching it, to be honest. I don't know what season does Jon Snow lose his virginity sorry, spoilers, guys. I should put.
Wow.
Well, I'm not watching that show.
This is the discussion. At what point can you stop At what point from when a show's been out long enough? Because I remember
I think it's a while.
Yeah,
especially with with something that's still on air. I feel like it's tough to say that you can do spoilers.
Yeah, I guess because it hasn't finished yet. So, I mean, but I'm saying season 4. That's a long time.
To answer your question, I think is it season 3 or 4? I thought it was season 3.
That might be 3 where I stopped.
Yeah. If anyone's gonna know, it's gonna be the guy that just rewatched all of them in the past week.
That's true.
It's either season 3 or season 4. Season 5 gets a little slow, but then season 6 is just straight up bananas.
Nonstop, right?
Yeah. I think I blew my load to that scene, and then I just was kind of like, I guess I got everything out of the show that I ever hoped for. But no, I should go back to it. Okay, cool. So
you can never go wrong with Forensic Files.
Oh, I love yes.
I'm a fucking Forensic Files junkie. So they have like 12 seasons of that on Netflix.
Also, I've only seen the first couple episodes, but what is it? The Santa Clarita Diet with Timothy Olyphant and Drew Barrymore. That's pretty good. Like dark comedy.
I know this is up there with Game of Thrones, but Trailer Park Boys I think has a new season as well. So that's
another one that I haven't gotten into that people tell me I really need to watch because it's fantastic.
It's really you should watch it when you're intoxicated. I think, but
that's the proper way to watch it. Like, I think in just a couple days I binged all of season 1, and that's a really. I mean, I was gonna say it had a strong first season, but for Trailer Park Boys, it's relatively strong. Like for what kind of show it is.
Did you watch Narcos, Scott?
No, I haven't watched Narcos either.
Narcos is good too. You have so much stuff you need to watch. Just like
I was saying that
cut the cable out.
I'm actually jealous.
I really should. I should stop cable.
You really like what you should do is you should honestly just like not just like cut the cord.
That's so hard, dude. Because there's so many. I love watching.
He likes watching all the garbage shows. That's the thing.
I do. No, I do enjoy it,
but
it's cutting into my actual time of watching stuff that would actually give me some return. Though I guess I do get some kind of return. It's like junk food, I guess. I'm just watching the junk food. I'm not getting a nice meal. But I do I love Travel Channel. I love Bizarre Foods. America. I love Andrew Zimmern. So I watch a lot of that stuff too. In with the other. So shows that actually have some merit to them because that show's great. But okay, that's good. Those are some good ones.
People versus O.J. Simpson's really good too. Solid show.
All right. I got no excuse now. Now next time, ask me next week, guys. Ask me next week. Hutch gave me a bunch.
I'm sort of out of things to watch at the moment because I'm waiting for so many shows to start up their next season. So I actually on the plane ride back today, I watched Pulp Fiction for the first time.
What?
Yeah. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm sure this is gonna be an unpopular opinion, but I'm just not a Quentin Tarantino fan. I have heard that. Actually, I've watched multiple of his movies, and so many people just fawn over every single movie he does. And I think I've given enough of his movies a shot now that it's just not for me.
It's not your thing. That's brave. That's brave of you to say because you know the backlash. I can already see it in chat right now. People are freaking.
I know. People. I'm sure I'll get hate for it, but I'm just being honest with you. I watched it, and I was like, I don't see why people consider these masterpieces. And it was more in the context of other things that I've watched that Tarantino has done that I have had that same reaction to. So, I really think it's just I don't understand. I don't understand the fascination with Tarantino movies.
Have you seen Kill Bill?
I've not seen Kill Bill. No.
Okay.
But I've seen
Django's pretty good.
Yeah, Django is great.
Django is pretty good.
Yeah. See, I didn't love it. I don't know. It's something with me and his style of film that just doesn't seem to click.
Does Brandon have a mute button anywhere I can click real quick?
Okay, I'm hosting the cast here.
I'm not in the same vein as I don't enjoy them, but I'm kind of I'm a Tarantino fan light in the sense that I appreciate I like a lot of his movies, but I'm not. I feel like you find people that are either they don't like it maybe or they're fanatical. They're fanatical about it. You know what I mean? I guess there's really not that much in between, and I'm kind of yeah, I've enjoyed them, but I don't. They're not something that I will rewatch over and over and over again and analyze. And I'll be like, that was a cool experience. I enjoyed it.
Well, that's the thing. It's like Quentin tries to make, I think, his films, like when he makes a movie, he wants to be a part of every single aspect of the film. And like for those that are like enthusiasts and that really pay attention to small details, I think that's whereas detail to making a movie really shines. It's like his editing to, choice of words and stuff like that. Like, and just his whole process really makes
it garbage in Brandon's opinion. No, sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's more just that like I don't think I have that same appreciation for what he's going for. Like his movies have such a clear style that I think it's just something to me in his movies often feels like the story feels disjointed. And I imagine someone who loves Tarantino probably would say, "Oh, that's just like you're not smart enough to get it. Like you're not getting the genius." It's like, you know what? Maybe you're right. But I'm just being honest with you. Like for some reason, I don't seem to enjoy whatever genius is on display.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad you were able to say that.
Certainly an opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I know it's unpopular, but I'm not going to lie to you. I watched it. That's why I'm trying to give it a fair chance. And so it was available for download on Netflix. So I downloaded it, and I finally got around today to watching it. So I'm now more knowledgeable about his body of work, but it's just not my cup of tea.
I think the other thing is, oh, go ahead.
No. Hutch number 2, you go ahead.
No, I'm gonna have to defer to Hutch number 1. Go ahead, Hutch number 1.
I already forgot. It's fine.
Sorry, Brad. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I think Quentin Tarantino is one of those like things people kind of bandwagon as well. Like I think a lot of what we hear is people like, oh my god, you've never watched Pulp Fiction or Kill Bill. Like just like some of these people haven't watched like a lot of his films, but they're just bandwagon, I guess.
Well, there's also this cult of like you can't admit that you haven't seen. Like, there's this shaming that happens. Like when Brandon says that he hasn't seen Pulp Fiction, people act like he killed somebody, and it's like there's lots of movies that are classics that people haven't seen. Well, I mean, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people haven't seen. Like it's just by the nature of it. So you're right, Brad, in that sense that it definitely does happen. It's like it's basically you can't even admit that you haven't seen a certain thing, or people automatically write you off. But then sometimes you look at those same people, and like you said, either they're bandwagoning or they watched it yesterday, and now they're the authority on Tarantino. How could you not? Yeah,
I did get triggered. I heard Brandon say that, and a certain chemical in my head just
that's fair. I mean,
overloaded.
You shamed him, is what you did.
Yeah.
I said what? In a very
that,
loud and somewhat rude manner.
Yeah, but I mean, I could hear the slight tone of derision in your voice. You were not happy.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Well, that's what? You don't like Tarantino movies. I don't like Guacamole. We've all got our own devices.
It's true.
I've never seen Citizen Kane or Network. Apparently, those are classics.
Did you say Network?
Yeah, isn't that one called Network?
I haven't heard of that. No.
I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. That one.
Oh, is that what that's from? I'm thinking
we called Network.
I'm thinking of a terrible hacker movie called Network with like from the 90s with Sandra Bullock, or maybe that's Hacker.
No,
maybe that's actually Hacker.
Net. You're thinking of The Net.
Oh, The Net. That's what it was. That movie is so funny.
I saw that in theaters as a child.
Did you really?
Really?
It's funny.
Not a good movie. Yeah.
No. Absolutely.
Have you guys seen
at all?
Did you guys ever watch
Sorry, go ahead.
No, have you guys seen Split? M. Night Shyamalan's newest movie?
Dude, it's good.
Yeah.
I think so.
It's good. You didn't like it?
It just didn't really do anything for me. No.
That's one of those movies that James McAvoy's performance was either going to make or break it, and I thought he did really good. And
I agree. Yeah.
Trailers looked dumb as fuck. Like I remember seeing the trailers with my girlfriend when we'd go see something, and we would just look at each other like, "What the fuck is he?" And then the reviews came in pretty positive. I was like, "All right, well, I have to see this now," and I liked it a lot.
I had the exact same experience where watching that trailer, I was like, this is going to, hinge out, like you said, on his performance. And his performance was good. I really enjoyed it, but also in the context of like, as being I was and he's from Philly. I was a big Shyamalan fan, and then he put out a lot of turds, and he started with The Sixth Sense, and it just progressively tanked. And so I struggle sometimes, especially because he's when he made this, it's like, am I seeing this with like rose-colored glasses because I want it to be good? Do you know what I mean? Like but I really did enjoy it legitimately. Yeah. Like you. I really thought it was good.
Well, he made like 3 turds, right? He made The Village wasn't bad. I didn't think that was terrible. And then after that, though, Lady in the Water. Oh. And then fucking The Happening.
Oh.
And then Avatar: The Last Airbender, or the last. Oof, those 3 were just real bad.
Yeah, unholy trinity.
Yeah, real not good.
Some people won't even give him The Village, and I'm like, if you look, you can't compare it. The Village is not in the same. People were mad because they figured out the twist too early or something in The Village. But I'll still give him The Village.
I was like, man, they're in present day. Oh shit, I guess I should throw a spoiler alert out there. It's really not good, but it's not terrible. Not a turd.
I thought the twist ending of Split was awful. I felt like.
I liked
it. Was but it was so shoehorned in. Like it just felt
spoilers. Don't say it. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let me think. It's like let's say at the end of Spider-Man, someone's at a bar and goes, "Man, that reminds me of another superhero. What was his name?" And the guy next to him goes, "Thor." And it's just Hemsfield like sitting at the bar. I don't know. That's kind of just what it felt like. Just kind of thrown in there. Like I don't know.
I liked it because it was like that. Unbreakable was. I thought that was a really great movie. So
yeah,
and no one. Oh shit! Never mind. I'm sorry. What am I doing? All right, on to the next topic.
About to spoil it, or
I was about to spoil it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's all right. No, but okay, that's good. Well, what about games, gentlemen? What about games? I think we all talked about some shows, some movies. What are we playing?
I'm excited to hear about Katie Zen's experience this last week.
Oh my god! Yeah,
talk to me, Katie. What'd you play, dude?
I gave in about 6 months of owning it. I finally decided to give Rust a try.
Yes.
Going with absolutely no expectation. Like I honestly had no idea what the game was about, and I join in and like. For better or for worse, it was a one-of-a-kind experience. Like, I get into the game. First person I talk to, there's voice chat in it, and I ask him, like, hey, this is my first time playing Rust. Do you have any tips? He must have been 11 years old. He goes, well, you need to know this game is cancer, and everyone's going to fuck you over. And this saint, he gives me a spear and teaches me how to use it and throw it, sends me on my merry way. I immediately run in with some pretty nice people, and just being like, one guy was trying to show me how to build stuff, and then someone runs up with a gun and kills us both, crouches over my body and goes, welcome to Rust, bitch, and shoots me. And it was saying something like, the guy who was helping me was like, oh, I'm just trying to teach this guy how to play. It's like, you want to know how to play? Get the fuck away from my territory, or something. Like, you meet all kinds of people in that game. And as soon as I found out how to make the guitar, I started running around just only playing music, and I befriended somebody by only responding to him by playing the guitar. So it's like my only way of speaking. He was just sitting on a campfire giving everyone free food. And then he was like, all right, we're going to go to my friend's house. Follow me. And it was like 10 minutes of hiking we did across this. It's all procedurally generated, right, in Rust? Or is it like a set map, or is it
it's every server has a different like seed. So for every month or 2 weeks, it generates a different map. But yeah, it's all procedurally done. So
yeah, I'm following him, and he says, you see that giant tower in the distance? Yeah, that's my friend's house. And like he leads me there. I'm only playing the guitar, and Rust is ultimately a game about making friends. Like, I got invited to like 3 different Discords talking to people, and like we're inside this guy's house. He's given me stuff. We're pretty set. And the guy goes, okay, I'm going to go look for some stone. You guys stay in here. He opens the door, immediately gets killed by someone waiting outside. And I managed to close the door, like with his corpse outside. And it's another small child yelling, open the door, pussy, saying the worst things you can imagine. Like, it was just a crazy experience. Like, and there's so much like depth to that game. Like, I've heard like like so many people say the game is cancer, but I feel like that's kind of the point. Like
he gets it. He gets it, boys.
How excited are you that your passion, the only game that you want to play for the rest of your life, that Katie Zen gets it? Does that excite you?
Yeah. Dude,
it excites me that somebody else is on this boat. That's all I'm saying.
Would you agree with his statement that Rust is about making friends?
And enemies.
And
yes.
enemies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all politics in the end, and that's what makes it amazing, because you get these friends, you build these bases, you build your inventory, you make these weapons, and then it comes down to, dude, that dude was talking a ton of shit about me. Let's go mess up his base. And you spend 2 weeks grinding, you know, crafting all this shit, and then it becomes all-out warfare that you've just been hyping up for weeks. You've been talking shit in chat. You've been telling him to go kill himself. Like you've been saying all this stuff. Yeah. And you know what? It just comes down to politics. You know, who your friends are, who are your enemies, and you know, it's an amazing experience. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can't wait to play more. Honestly, like words I never thought would have came out of my mouth. I can't wait to play more Rust. Boom, there it is.
Wow.
But
all right.
Yeah. Other than that, Rocket League had a pretty cool update come out last week. I think it added a new game type called Drop Shot. I don't know if any of you guys played that at all.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah. I haven't had to play it yet.
Oh, it's crazy. It's like such a unique twist on it. Like I never would have thought of something like it involves. If you're unfamiliar, it's basically there are no goals. Like you're in kind of like an octagon sort of deal, and it's all about doing aerials, and like the field is split in two, and you're supposed to hit the ball enough to change it to your color, and then hit the other person's floor with that ball, and it'll like damage the floor, and if you damage the floor enough, it'll open, and then the ball falling under the hole on their side is the goal, so you're scoring a goal, and it's just. Yeah,
like the floor is lava kind of stuff, but it sounds a bit
sort of, yeah.
Or I don't know, like an inverted, like I don't know. That's weird.
Kind of like that, yeah. The idea is like you kind of, or maybe break the floor into lava by hitting it with the ball. So there's some pretty like creative. It's just a really great way to practice aerials, and it's pretty fun. Also the season reset, so like the ranks are gone, and they kind of changed how the ranks are. Like they completely changed what the ranks are. I think it goes like bronze, silver, gold, platinum, champion, and then one other. So I think a total of 6. So what? Yeah, it's pretty weird.
There's no more Challenger 3 and Challenger 2 and all that?
No. Well, let me think. There's silver, and then there are only 3, like it doesn't go up to 1 through 5. There are just 3 silvers, 3 golds, you know, instead of 5. There's still divisions, but they're only like 3 kind of numbers, but there are more overall kind of ranks.
Okay.
But from what I've been hearing, like the ranked matchmaking is kind of fucked, because I was talking to Natsu about it, and he was saying that he was Rising Star last season, and he was playing with Jeff, and they both played ranked and got and did pretty well and got ranked, I think, gold 3, which I'm not sure. I wonder if he's here, if he could clarify. But yeah, so I'm thinking, all I really want in life is someone to play duos with reliably on Rocket League. I've been trying to convince people to play it. But I mean, ultimately, it's my fault. I'm not consistent enough. Anyways, that's my own personal.
Wow, you're really working through your own inadequacies in Rocket League. Yeah. I'm just letting you do this.
Yeah, I kind of.
Go ahead. Hey.
Went off on a tangent there. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's a pretty great update. And I did not know about all the Hot Wheels stuff that they added. Like they added this topper for your car, where it's. Do you remember? This is out there. But do you remember that old school Hot Wheels kind of like track? It was that toy Shark Bite, or like Shark Attack, where it had the track going through the shark's mouth, and it would clamp down on the car and try to knock it off the track or something.
Yeah, that's like real old school.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was recreated as a topper on a Rocket League car, and it's animated where the car is constantly going around, the shark is biting down trying to get it. It's so lovely, like, man. And I think a couple new cars got added also. But yeah, just a really cool update. And so, like, anytime I can jump back into Rocket League is awesome. Cool. And then, other than that, finished Dark Souls 3 again to get a character ready for the DLC. And then played a little bit of Battlegrounds for the first time last night with APL and a couple other gentlemen. Like when I was playing that, like it didn't hook me like when I played it, but the entire time I was at work today, I was just thinking about like I want to get into another Royale. And really the only complaints like, so I mean I watch a lot of H1, but I've never played it, and I've never played really a BR game before. So I think I was expecting something more like arcadey, like you guys talked about last week. So like the movement is really, the movement's really strict like that. So kind of wrapping my head around that and like just picking up items.
It's like Rainbow Six Siege kind of, where you don't really run that fast.
Exactly. I mean? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And
that's not a terrible comparison as far as like, if you were going to compare, it's definitely a lot more, a lot slower. You have to be a lot more methodical. You have to really, you can't just run around and people will play. It's definitely like the Arma community. And I think people that were good at that Battle Royale mod and stuff like that, or I guess wasn't Arma the first to actually do it? Didn't it come out of an Arma mod?
So the guy that made the mod, from what I understand, this was some Twitch chat telling me this or something like that. But somebody told me that basically some modder made the mod for Arma, and then H1Z1 actually licensed it from him or something like that. And then he later came out with this game that we're seeing right now. So that's where Player Unknowns, that's his name in the community or something like that. So that's, I always think of it as basically you took H1, but then you took it back to like the DayZ Arma feel. And I don't know, I get that vibe.
It's way more that vibe, definitely. And I get a lot of people, like if you're used to, like a lot of people that are used to the pace and the speed of H1, you can't really replicate that. You can't play like that in this game. You will get punished because people are way more careful. People will wait around. They will camp. Like they'll go into a town, they'll loot everything, and they'll wait a little bit just to see where people are going to go. Not that that doesn't happen in H1, but it's definitely, like you said, Katie, movement slower, like vehicle, everything. You gotta aim generally first person, especially at medium to long distance to get kills. Yeah. So it's definitely.
And really, the only major complaints I have, I mean, for one thing, I think the ring shrinks just a bit too fast, in my opinion. But other than that, the only real complaints I have are just inherent early access stuff. Like the game kind of runs like shit for now, and it's pretty buggy. Like you don't pick up items right away. Switching guns is kind of like. Well, I mean, there's no problem switching guns. It just visually is kind of a little bugged, but nothing that can't be fixed. So.
You're gonna play more, is what was
absolutely saying. Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. I really. I mean, I'd be down after the cast if you want to, maybe.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No, I was just telling you you're playing more. Like you're not gonna end on that. Like you're not refunding it.
Oh, you're telling me? Okay, yeah.
Regardless of if you were going to anyway. Yeah, we'll play more. Yeah. But all right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that wraps up my week.
All right, Hutchie, talk to me, man. What's in your game and diet? I mean, obviously, I know. Call of Duty.
Well, the first one you're gonna like this answer because I have a campaign with them.
Okay.
So I started playing Sniper Elite 4 today.
Oh, nice.
And it's so fucking fun, man. Like the single player is fun. I was really enjoying myself playing that game. I was literally doing that just before this started. And then I play a lot of game battles matches with the old Optic boys, and then. I used to be like I'll switch off between H1 and Rocket League is like my other game. So I was really obsessing on Rocket League for a few months, but now every day I'm craving H1. And I tried Player Unknown's Battlegrounds, but it didn't immediately hook me. And I do realize that like I'm not gonna give it a definitive judgment yet, just because I've only played it for a couple hours, and that's not really a game that you can make a full opinion on. Right. So I do realize that I need to go back and like learn the game, take the time to learn the game in order to maybe enjoy it. But it didn't grab me in the same way that H1 did the first time I played it. And H1's become pretty polished. You know, a lot of people complain about certain aspects of the game, like hit detection and the recoil patterns are kind of just weird on some of the guns. But I just have so much fun when I play that game.
Cool.
Yeah, I can see myself buying H1 along with Battlegrounds to kind of play between the two because it just looks like just more fun to me. Yeah. But that's entirely like subjective. So.
Well, they've been polishing it for a few years now, or 2 or 3 years now, and
yeah.
Pretty.
Whereas go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's a lot more polished than when the game first launched. That's for sure. Where you had to wait queue for like 5 to 10 minutes to get into a BR game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with like you're saying with Battlegrounds, it's definitely situation. Like once you get past like learning the differences, like even the healing and stuff, like there's tiered gear in this game, which you don't have in H1. Like the healing spam's generally a lot less in this game. Pretty much if you get shot and your teammate's not near you, and even if he is, you're pretty much done. Like that, you can revive, but it's you bleed out pretty fast, and there's not. And there's a couple little things like I've been enjoying it. It's been frustrating though. I'm not gonna lie. Like even as much as I have fun with it, sometimes I'll go in and it'll just be like I'll run around forever, and then I'll get down to the end, and then I just get shot from somewhere that I have no idea where they are. And to be fair, a lot of times it's people just playing super careful, prone. Like you'll see a lot of like really smart stuff as far as movement with players, especially like if you play 4s or even 3s or whatever, or duos, like just even like flanking shit. And I'm like, these guys are fucking ex-military Arma nerds. And they are. Like you can just tell by the way, like this dude is like mind fucking me while his teammate comes around with the shotgun or whatever. Like, so you're just going to see a lot more tactical play. Again, not that doesn't happen in H1, but you can't get away with just like sprinting at people and just relying on your raw aim, or it just doesn't.
Overwhelming them, right? With like
it just doesn't translate in this game. I'm still enjoying it though, and for me, performance has actually been a lot better. Servers have been a lot more laggy because the player base has obviously exploded since it went public with the alpha, and you can purchase it. But so that's also been kind of a little bit frustrating. Had a bunch of laggy games the other night, where I was getting shot behind, which again, like it was where we're kind of praising this, and it's. Like over H1 with like, well, that happens all the time in H1 and it doesn't really happen in this game. Well, now that the server population's starting to explode, I think it's just one of those things that you have with these battle royale type games where you have 100 people in the server at the same time, right? Like, and you have that server stress. So we'll see. I think it remains to be seen. I don't think people want to talk about it as like, is it the H1 killer and all this stuff? And I think the games are too fundamentally different. Yes, they're battle royale, but they're very different from each other. And I don't think it's necessarily going. I think H1 still has the foothold, especially because it has the longevity and how long it's been out, and people are used to it and they know the formula. And I think it's a more easily accessible game, like you were saying, Hutch. The first time you played H1, it kind of clicked with you. This game, you have to. It's going to be for somebody that wants to put in a lot more time.
Well, my introduction to H1 was survival, which in like when you first join, it's not like it's a pretty intuitive game, but you still have to take the time to learn it.
Sure. Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that I mean, H1 is definitely more casual. Yeah, it's definitely more casual. I don't know. I don't like the inventory system in Battlegrounds. The way that they do inventory is just kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see, Battlegrounds is pretty fresh out of early access, so I'd love to see after 2 years of development where it ends up at.
Yeah. Another game that I wasn't playing, but my girlfriend's been playing, and so it's like we have a projector, so it's like always on the wall, is Horizon Zero Dawn, which looks amazing. It looks really, really cool. I have fun just watching her play the game.
Yeah.
That game's awesome.
Yeah, that's gotten great. Oh yeah, you were playing that, Katie. You were playing through that, weren't you?
I've only played it for maybe an hour or two, but it's
didn't you rent that, or no? Was that the Wii?
No, I rented Zelda.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say you're not sitting on that and raking up your rental charges, are you?
No. I mean,
okay.
Oh God, the late fee right now. It must have been no.
Yeah,
I got it on time, like a good boy. Yeah, that game is just fucking phenomenal looking.
Yeah, very cool. Okay. All right. Brad, talk to me. What you've been playing?
Battlegrounds, of course.
Yes.
We played a little bit.
What is your take on that now that you've played it more, though? I'm curious. I know we talked about it a little bit, but what do you think?
Yeah, I was talking to my buddy last night about it, and we probably spent a good 20 minutes saying just how much, like, to really enjoy the game and like to be successful at it, you really need to change the way you play coming over from like H1. Like, it's just so much more.
Right.
Like we were pinned in a house, basically with like, we were playing 4s, and we knew that there was 2 guys with rifles watching our house. But then like I heard somebody running up to the house, and like I don't know what caused me to do this, but my instinct came in like as if I was playing H1, like I'm gonna run out of this house and fuck this guy up, and like open the door, do like a classic jump maneuver, and before I even touch the ground, like the 2 guys with the the rifles had already killed me. So it's like you just really have to change the way you play, the way you look at like a match and everything. Just even like jumping out of the plane and being strategic with that. I've been kind of learning my way around the map. One thing I do like is how the loot system and like the items are all randomly spawned, but the vehicles are consistent almost. Like if they're in buildings. So now I have like 3 places I know I like to spawn into, depending on the run, because I can get my items in a vehicle there, and that kind of adds a different element to like how you play, where like H1 it would just like randomly throw you in, and it was always just like, well, who knows if we're gonna get a car or whatever else. And I just feel like now I have this edge that kind of makes it more enjoyable, there's more strategy in play, things like that. So definitely enjoying that. What else have I been playing? Haven't been playing Rust, actually. I know we were talking about it, but I'm waiting until the next wipe. A little bit of H1. I tried the new Overwatch character. That was pretty interesting. Something about Overwatch just kind of like lost its grip on me. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's the lack of game modes and it's just the same thing over and over again. I don't know, but I don't really play like quick play or competitive as much as I thought I would.
The fact that it's trash doesn't have anything to do with it, or no, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Bang bang.
Wow.
No, I know. I don't really hate Overwatch. It's just a meme at this point. But okay, that's good. So, but yeah, none of that heroin into the veins. Waiting for that server. I would have thought because KD was in Rust that you would have.
I was thinking about extending an invite to have him with my clan next wipe if he's interested, but we'll see.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but
very cool.
But yeah, that was it for me.
Accidentally hit you with the Bone Club like countless other people I've played with.
Very cool. All right, Brandon, hit me. Don't actually. Hit me. You can hit me off stream. But
smack him.
Hit me with what
you know where.
Yep.
So I didn't really play much this week. I was out of town at Extra Life United,
right?
The tournament for Extra Life. So that was really cool. I don't know if any of you guys got a chance to tune in and see any of that, but that was really neat.
Is that the one in Orlando or the one in Florida?
Yeah, the one in Orlando.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Saw some, a bunch of tournaments. People won a bunch of money for their local hospitals. That was really cool.
Huh.
And honestly, the only thing I played. I'd mentioned before I played The Walking Dead season 2. So I've played through episode 2 so far, and then I discovered that I hadn't bought all the episodes, but I was on a plane, and so I couldn't buy and download the episode. So I've gone through episode 2, but I need to buy the rest of them. So I played that a little bit, and then while we were at Extra Life United, they had Microsoft had a little station in the back where they had a bunch of Xboxes, and if you played against someone else, whoever won would get a little bit of money for their hospital. And so I think it was like $10 or $20, something like that, right, per game.
Yeah.
And so John and I went back there. We were just seeing what games they had and stuff, and they had FIFA back there. John and I have never played FIFA ever. So John and I hop up there and we're playing FIFA in the back. We played 2 games of FIFA. Both of them went to basically as many overtimes as they allow. I think it was like 4 overtimes or something. 0-0. We could not score a goal on each other.
True, soccer in its purest form.
Yeah,
where nobody's scoring.
It really was. Awesome. That game. I mean, I guess I would have to see someone who's really good at it, and I'm sure there's like some skill, and it's actually not that hard to score goals. But man, it was painful. So 0-0, both games ended in penalty kicks at the end, and so it came down to like just basically aiming for the penalty kick. And so John ended up winning both games, but both of them 0-0 all the way through, multiple overtimes. Never scored a goal in regulation. So that was an interesting hour or so.
Good Lord.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I played. I just got back home.
Oh man, that's I have not played, so I've watched. Like I haven't played. I used to be so into the FIFAs growing, like on even Sega and then PlayStation, and the new ones look definitely a lot more complicated and a lot more difficult. I feel like I might have the same experience.
The button scheme, I felt like it took a little while to figure out the button scheme because it's just soccer. So multiple buttons kind of kick in different ways. So one of the buttons is like a pass, like a ground pass, and another button is like an air pass, and another button's like shooting. But so trying to figure out which button you should use to make the ball do the thing you want to do was a little confusing. But I think I'm also just awful at games like that because I don't really play sports games these days. And actually, in our second game, John got 3 red cards. He was down 3 players, and I could not score a goal on him. It was truly an awful display.
Dang, it's rough. Okay. That's cool. I'm glad. Extra Life United. I went last year, and that was an awesome event. So, I'm glad it went well again this year. Was it in the same spot as it was last year, or was it different?
Yeah, it's the same. It happens alongside
same place every year.
Yeah, it happens alongside the Children's Miracle Network Momentum event, which is like an event for all the hospitals. So like there's actual Children's Miracle Network staff who is there, and they kind of get to see what Extra Life's all about. It's a really, really neat event. I think it's one of those things where if you raise for Extra Life, like I think it's a really cool thing to get to go to at least once. Because I think it is a pretty life-changing event. And we got to play with some of the champion kids. Several of them actually were like pretty into gaming. And so getting to talk with some of the slightly older kids, who's like teenage years, who are into games is really cool.
Cool. Awesome. All right. And I pretty much went. The main thing was Battlegrounds was in my in my diet this week as well. And
no more Battlefield, huh?
No. Well, we tried it again. We tried again to play the DLC maps, and they're just so, on operations at least, they're so broken on attack that we got 2 games on defense. We won handily, and then we got on attack and just barely lost on the last point. And I'm just super frustrated. Yeah, I was just super frustrated. So no Battlefield until they address the issues. But I'm not tripping. It's all right. You know what? I've got 109, almost 200 hours in that game. I guess I did pay for the DLC, so maybe I should be more upset. But I'm just shielding myself. Yeah, it's whatever, Brad. I'm trying not to think about it. I'm trying to just be like, yeah, it's cool. You know what? They'll figure it out eventually. DICE, it's fine. All right. Well, now I think is the part of the cast where we're going to have a historic moment. We are going to have Hutch number 2 talk to Hutch number 1 with maybe a little bit more targeted questions, because I know most people, if you're listening to this cast, you know who Hutch is, but you may not know some of the.
But do you really know me?
Exactly. Yes. Do they really?
You think
so?
Well, that's actually a good segue into what I wanted to start asking you about.
Start it up.
Well, I just wanted to say I found your channel because back in the day, I was looking up Call of Duty videos. It was looking up who's doing nukes or whatever. But I found your videos and stayed on your channel because you were doing something other people weren't really doing at the time, and that was adding this commentary or perspective. And I kind of find that nowadays we're seeing a lot of people doing various types of gaming videos, and that's commentaries, reactions, tutorials, or maybe their professional level gameplay, whatever it might be. But I always stuck around for your channel for the commentary, and I think one of the things I respected was you were always very transparent. You told us a lot about your life that maybe people wouldn't go as far to share with other random people that they didn't know on the internet. And I was wondering, so kind of start off with questions like, did you ever kind of regret being as transparent as you were, or what kind of kept you doing that, or what's your thought on that?
I don't know if I regretted being transparent about anything. I regretted stuff that happened. And just because I was pretty transparent at the time about everything, it kind of, I don't know if I'm saying what I want to say correctly. No, I don't think I choose not to be as transparent these days, just because back then it felt different to me. It felt like there was more freedom to do that sort of thing. But these days, like, you're just one stupid comment away from being on top of live stream fails or featured on Drama Alert or something like that.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, so like, so I think just being in this space sort of naturally teaches most people to be less transparent over time. Mm. But no, I can't say that I regret it back then. No.
Mm. Yeah. So you're basically saying now, though, that you've kind of gone away from being so transparent, right? Is that something you're kind of saying, like, just because? Yeah. And, okay. And do you think you learned anything else from that? Like, what was the interaction like? Like, because I know I just got done with a job basically working for a YouTube channel, and one of the biggest flaws that the company had gone through was they were honestly too transparent, or they made promises that they didn't make, or you know, there's this entitlement the audience built up, you know, with,
that was I was going to say
what's going on. You know,
I was going to chime in and say that you build a certain level of you not entitlement, but it is like that. Like if you once you are that transparent, Hutch, like, and obviously you know you had a lot of stuff go on throughout from starting YouTube to where you are now, and that, you know, that informs how you act now. But like it does, like, once you're that transparent and then you're like sharing so much of your life, and then when you stop, I guess kind of the question you're asking, Brad, is like was there a lot of backlash with that, or like not that so much you regret it? For me, I'm just curious, like, now you're kind of in the situation you are people pretty respectful? Do you still get like, you know, you're not being real with me, Hutch, or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, is that the perception? I hope not. No,
I don't think so.
I don't think that I don't think that that's what I'm doing these days. It's just like little things like I've been with Esme for over 2 years now, but I don't, you know, she's not a huge part of my Twitter account or my YouTube videos or anything like that.
Your online presence, right?
Sure.
Yeah, whereas my approach before was just like, no, bring him in, let him be a part of it. And for me, that just doesn't really work anymore, just because, like, when you've had a couple relationships fail, and most relationships fail. That's the thing. Like, I'm certainly not saying that I expect my current relationship to fail, but most of the time it doesn't work out until you're, you know, a little bit older. I think it's just better to keep some things just for you. You know, like I even use that approach with video games. Like, there are some games that I like to play off stream. I'm not recording. I just kind of get lost in whatever game I'm playing. Like, I think it is important not to broadcast literally everything, because you kind of lose yourself. I did that for a while. I mean, like, everything that happened in my life, everything that was on my mind, you know, not literally everything, but most of it, you know, the gist of most of what I was thinking, I would just broadcast it. And I don't necessarily see the value in doing that the same way that I did before. You know, now these days, like, I apply a pretty like I don't want to look like a moron. So, like, maybe my vanity prevents me from just kind of being too off the cuff about this sort of stuff. But
no, I want to make it clear that I wasn't implying that people think that you're being fake or anything. I just mean that because you started out as, like, the reason that people were attracted and still are attracted to you is because they do feel like you were saying, Brad, when you first started watching his channel, he was talking about real life stuff beyond just gameplay, right? And, like, you know, I mean, the personality is approachable, and it's still the same. Yeah. But it is obviously, like you said, as you get older, you get wiser. And I feel, you know, I feel the same way in a lot of ways about that too, though we haven't had the same exact path. But as you age,
there's some overlap, there's some crossover there. But and, like, I still try to make an effort. Like, this last week, just with streaming, I've tried to make more of an effort to, because at some point I'll kind of get lost in the game and maybe not be looking at the chat as much. But I like to make sure that there's, like, a little bit of time either at the front or at the end where I'm actually interacting with them, maybe sharing some weird fear that I had when I was trying to go to sleep last night, or talk about balding and how that sucks to bald.
We really need to. I know this isn't on the list, Brad. I'm sorry, but we need to. I see your tweet. You're really struggling with the. I see you working it out on Twitter, Hutch, and it's okay, dude. It's right.
No, that it helps me to joke about it. So like, I like to pick up my phone and tweet, "I'm not balding and everything is fine" at 2 a.m. with no context.
I know. I saw this. They had the desired effect because I laughed actually pretty hard, so I enjoyed it.
It's profoundly upsetting to me to be balding. Like, it really, really upsets me, but at the same time, I don't take myself that seriously. So I welcome you guys to share in my humiliation.
No, well, it's not even. There's nothing you can do about it. I don't even know. Like what do you? If you're balding, that's just part of your. What
I do have to say, this is better than what I saw maybe in your Twitch chats like a year ago or something, where people were like joking about like possibly you being on meth or some shit like that. Like the balding route is much more appropriate.
Lot tamer.
The meth jokes, I think, originated back like when I was making videos for Respawn, because I think I said I look like a Vietnam veteran who was strung out on meth.
Yeah.
Right, you did. If Ben Stiller was a Vietnam vet who had gone through like a meth phase, came out the end, then you would have me.
Yeah.
I don't think it's too serious.
It's funny.
I hope.
No. I think it's great. Just the
math,
the little, yeah, exactly. I think Scott does this well too. The self-deprecation, just a little bit in like a funny comedic sense. Yeah, I mean it's hard not to, and I think it really shows with your community and stuff, what they say and how they influence the content and things like that. But it's just funny now to see like a year later, and now it's just like even in our chat today, it's like, are you guys talking about Hutch balding? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't care.
But yeah, no, it is funny.
It's funny.
I think for some people, they can, they reach a certain point and maybe they start hiring like a professional photographer just to take pictures for their Instagram account, and like I can't do that. Like I could never I could never do that. You know what I mean? I'm just way too embarrassed to do something like that. So like, I think you can, there's certainly like, you can do that on YouTube and kind of go in that direction, but I still think there's plenty of opportunity to be transparent with your chat. Maybe not about everything, but you can still be personal. I mean, YouTube is definitely becoming way more commercial these days. Like if you go on the front page now, all you see is a Jimmy Kimmel clip and like music video for Selena Gomez and and any number of other sponsored. Whereas back then it was like, that was like the standard, is that you were somewhat engaging with your stream, and it just doesn't seem like that's the big focus anymore. But I still say there's, you can form connections. Like I flew out to PAX East just to hang out with like 5 of my subscribers, because they've been supporting the stream for so long, and that was really nice, man. I played Monopoly IRL for them with like 5 hours.
Oh wow,
so it's good. It's good to have that experience to kind of like remind me that there are people that have been really supportive. Because like you get in this habit of just looking at names on a screen, and you forget sometimes that these are actual people. And then when you actually meet them, wow, these people take a lot of time out of their days to come hang out with me. And yeah, I'm still getting a kick out of that. In a lot of ways, I'm experiencing like a resurgence of what's the word? Like energy. I get a lot of energy from
I see.
So yeah,
awesome,
cool. So I guess talking about that with the front page and stuff, of YouTube, and then the ecosystem kind of changing. And as somebody that's been doing these gameplay commentary videos for a while, like what do you think has changed most in the scene as far as video game commentary videos go, or like people that do this professionally or for a living or something? Like what do you think
it's become really it's become a lot more formulaic. Like people have figured out successful formulas to to make money and to get views on Twitch and on YouTube, and you can't unlearn these things. So everybody just kind of starts adopting these best practices, and so it ends up creating sort of this is homogenized the right word I'm looking for, or everything just feels kind of
almost like a stagnation or something like that. I don't know. So
I mean, there are some people that are doing stuff that like I don't really know. it's I think that's probably the biggest thing that's changed is that you can make money off of this sort of stuff, and you can make a lot of money off this stuff if you know how to play the game. And what I think ends up happening is it results in like just a little bit less of a personal connection with the audience that you have. So I think it's really up to the creator to do whatever they can to keep that connection alive and fresh. You know, I think once like some people get so big that they can't even really have a lot of meaningful interactions anymore because it's so big, you know. So it's kind of ironic that like the more people you attract, the less opportunities you have to, you know, maybe do what YouTube was intended for in the first place, which is just to connect people,
to become some kind of community, right? And I've noticed some people that, you know, around that same, you know, that started around the same time, they're no longer a person behind, you know, a microphone or whatever you want to say. They're a brand now. Like that's something, you know. I'm not saying that, you know, you guys haven't developed your own brand or something, but it is clearly like they're trying to make something different than just, you know, I'm a person. I make videos. I have a website. I have all this other stuff. You know, it's clearly developed into something else.
There's a big part of that gets lost when you hire people, when you have channels that literally hire people to tell them what their social media strategy should be. So once a day at 3 p.m. because that's when you get the most traffic, you should post, you know, an edgy Instagram photo or something like that, and then it just becomes, like I said, just like real sort of formulaic.
Well, I find that very funny. I'm not going to drop the name here, but I know some editors that were going to be like applying to a job or something for a channel, and they basically said, you know, can you replicate the style, and you know, can you do this, and it's kind of
make
pretty
my
interesting.
Look like Casey Neistats or something like that.
But it's pretty interesting to see that, especially from somebody that just was working on Sony Vegas in 2010 and just throwing shit together because it looked cool and they thought it was fun. But
there's also this like you know, I think it's really hard to keep people around on YouTube and Twitch. I think it's like real hard, you know. And I consider myself fortunate to still be able to do this to this day. But like there's this pressure to always be innovating, to always be doing something new, to always be pushing the needle and in some form or fashion, instead of just like being who you are and sharing your personality on the internet. All of a sudden, you know, you can have a lot of sleepless nights where you're just kind of racking your brain trying to think of something new. And it's a lot of that has to do with like algorithmic changes. Like you don't know what, like all of a sudden YouTube comes up with this fucking brand new algorithm and doesn't tell anybody, and you just kind of figure it out by trial and error like everybody else, and it just totally changes everything. And I try not to let that affect me too much, because I figure like the people that are going to want to come like still keep hanging around and watching my shit are people that make an effort to do so. You know, I don't want my whole success or my life to be dependent on some algorithm.
Right. And I think it's curious too, because, you know, some people think of, we've all heard it, you know, YouTube's not a job or whatever, when it is very much so a job for some people. And I'm just curious, like, long-term wise, do you see yourself doing this for forever, or do you have any plans? Like, where do you see yourself in like 10 years, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm still working that out. I'm asking myself that question more these days. But for the foreseeable future, no. I do love doing this, and I still think I got a lot of gas in the tank. It's like I really want to get back into doing like little short skits, because that's something that I've missed doing for quite a while. But it's hard to sort of plan and coordinate that all by yourself. It's easier when you have like a cameraman or a producer or an editor. So when you're a one-man show doing it all, then it can be pretty time-consuming and exhausting. But as long as I have like this desire to keep making stuff, then I don't really question that too much. Because 8 years ago, people were hitting me up in the tweets and in the comments when I got the job at Machinima, like, you better savor this because it's only going to last like 2 or 3 years. And here I am, and I'm doing pretty well, So I try not to question too much. I try to have faith. Like if I'm making stuff that people want to watch, or if my personality is something that people want to watch on Twitch or whatever, then I think that's the only thing that matters.
Right.
So keep that connection with your audience there, and then just keep being you.
On a side note to that question, because this is one thing that I sometimes struggle with especially when it comes to YouTube, is do you ever get like, so without naming any channels here in particular, but like when you're talking, Brad, about the cookie cutter, right? There's this depending on how deep you will go on YouTube, but my watch page probably looks a little bit different than yours if you're logged in, because I'm all over the place. But there's these channels that, so like for example, I'll just use the 1,000-degree knife formula as an example. So when that video happened, right, it spawned literally, I would say thousands, but maybe millions, but thousands of imitators, and you can search that tag and find variations of that video from these channels that just basically cookie cutter copy from the thumbnail to everything else. Yeah. The only difference is that there's a, kind of not like a person who probably has no business being in front of the camera doing it, but because of the algorithm and whatever else, like you said, they've learned how to game the system. Does that ever, like you said, you try not to get frustrated by it, but sometimes does it ever make you go like, why am I actually putting in even any moderate effort or effort at all when
not anymore. I don't. Yeah. Like that shit used to get like really bother me, especially when I was at Machinima, which didn't make a whole lot of sense because Machinima was doing their own stuff with tags and metadata. Yeah. They knew the deal when it came to SEO.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but like, it doesn't bother me anymore just because it's just like I've been in the game for like 8 years. Like there are people that really benefit off of algorithmic changes or manipulation, and in my experience, most of the time they don't really last that long. Like it's really hard. It's really, for some people, it's really easy to figure out, okay, well, this really works well in the algorithm. So it doesn't matter if my video is funny or if I'm all that interesting. As long as I show up in the related videos and I have a decent thumbnail and I have an okay title, people are probably going to click on that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so like I just don't really think about too much about what other people do. I really I've gotten to a point where I'm more focused on, like, sometimes I'll kind of browse through Twitch and see what other streamers are doing just to kind of get some new ideas if I feel like my stream is lacking something, which I think is fine. That's different from literally copying and pasting.
Sure, yeah, just copying the formula. Sure,
or whatever.
Absolutely.
And usually if I get some inspiration, I like to say it on stream, like, oh, I was watching so and so and they added this to the overlay and I thought that was pretty cool, so I'm going to do that. Yeah. So like there's a difference between being totally derivative and benefiting off other people's creativity, I guess.
No, as far as like ideas go, I think it's pretty interesting because I definitely wasn't expecting this. Chess, like you were playing chess quite a bit, and that was a big change. And I was just curious, like, how do your audience receive that? Was there anything out of broadcasting that or recording it for YouTube or whatever it might be that you weren't expecting out of covering, your gameplay of chess at this point?
Like I used to talk about chess a lot. I think when I was making videos, I used to say like, man, I was obsessed with chess because it was such a big part of my life for like 3 years. So I had enough people ask me to play chess one day, and then I uploaded a video and it got like insane views. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And so like the more I did it, the views kind of immediately aren't as much, but the long tail views on chess are weird, man. Like I'll upload a chess video in 3 days, it'll get like 30,000 views, 40,000 views or something like that. I'll check back 6 months later, it has 250,000. So it's weird. I don't think there are a lot of people posting a lot of chess stuff on YouTube just yet. So, and it's fun for me, I get to, I reach out to these grandmasters, and because my people are in their chat talking about me, they know who I am, and so they give me like these private lessons, which I think is just the fucking coolest thing in the world. To get a lesson from a grandmaster is really cool to me. I don't know. My philosophy has always just been like, try not to, like, at some point you can't say like, just fuck the fans, I'm just going to do whatever I want. That's just, I don't think that's going to work. I don't think it's very realistic, but at the same time, I try to keep the focus more on, well, what am I enjoying right now? Even if it doesn't get like the most amount of views on Twitch or on YouTube currently, is it something that I enjoy? Because in my experience, preventing stuff like burnout can be like, how do you measure that monetary gain? You know what I mean? Like even if the views are a little bit less than they normally are for whatever platform I'm on, the fact that I'm enjoying it and the fact that I look forward to firing up the stream or making a video or something like that, that keeps me going, because burnout is fucking real. I don't know if Scott, I don't know if you burned out.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I totally relate. Yeah, definitely it's real.
Got burned out a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm about to shut down my other computer, dude. Burnout's a trigger word for me. No, so you can totally relate. Well, and I was nodding my head because I was relating to exactly what you were saying in the sense of like, you can't totally fuck the fans, though that is the KBMOD slogan, as Chad has pointed out for a long time, but as a joke. But so you do have to take their feedback and like you want to try to cater to what they enjoy. But there's zero value in doing this if doing this just becomes formulaic, or you end up hating what you're doing. Like you have to. So I totally agree. Like you can't really put a value on that, because if you're happy with what you're doing creatively, like sure, we can all be our worst critic or whatever else and slack and be better at certain times than other times. But I totally relate to that. If you're happy with what you're doing creatively, then that's really at the end of the day all that matters. And it just happens that, like you said, I feel lucky too to be able to do this for a living and do pretty well. And I don't take that for granted. But even if I wasn't doing it, if I had to sell out, so to speak, though, that is another meme that I have sold out. But if I had to truly sell out and it just became like another 9-to-5 grind that I hated, I would quit and I would do something else. So I think you probably feel the same way in that sense. But
you know what else I've noticed too, man, or maybe it's just my perspective, but I think it's generally never a good idea for a streamer or a YouTuber to complain about their job.
Right. How hard it is.
Any respect.
Sure. No, it's true.
Even if they have legitimate grievances, like sometimes YouTube does fuck the creators, but even when there are legitimate grievances, you're never gonna find people that are gonna be sympathetic. Nope. Nobody gives a fuck about nobody gives a fuck about your problems on Twitch or on YouTube. However legitimate your problems may be, you should DM your other streamer friends or your YouTuber friends, but I just don't think you should tweet about it, because I think it sends a really bad. It's just optically not very good.
And that's why you need to have you definitely having friends and people in the space that can relate to that is good, but absolutely. No, I totally going I'm burned out from playing video games and recording it for a living. No, it doesn't hit the sound. It doesn't post well. And as not that it should, like if I was on the other side, I think I would, the response would be similar. I'd be like, stop whining, you fucking baby. You've got my dream job.
I've probably done that before, but it's something that I really kind of phased out of my behavior altogether. Like there'll be a lot of times where I'll write out a tweet or something like that, and I'll be like, no, I'm going. You know what? I have nothing positive to say right now. I'm just going to go ahead and close Twitter and do something else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good gig. It's not. I don't think it's an easy gig. I don't know. Like it's in some ways it's definitely a lot easier than something like waiting tables, but in other ways, I think it does take a certain kind of energy or a certain kind of personality to want to engage people as much as someone like a streamer or a YouTuber does. And sometimes that can be kind of tiring. But all in all, it's it's pretty sweet deal, man. Pretty sweet deal.
Well, great. That's that's kind of all I had.
You're not going to ask him the grape question? You deleted the grape question.
Wow, God. What about grapes? What?
It's actually really
simple question.
It was a
green
simple question.
or red grapes?
Green or red? Prefer?
Oh, green. 100%.
Okay.
All right. Favorite game of all time?
Single player would be BioShock 1 or Donkey Kong Country, one of the two.
Okay.
And then
Nice.
multiplayer, probably COD 4. You got to go with COD 4. Yeah.
Cool. Are you ever going to fire back at Blame Truth for that embarrassing video he did, that parody he did years ago? Also, more importantly, I just want to know, are you fucking Brad? I mean, because I'm looking at your last names here. I see his name is Hutch's son, your name is Hutch-in's son, and figuratively you were saying you look kind of older than Brad, and so when you look at Brad's last name, he's Hutch-is son, and if you're fucking him, you're Hutch-in's son. You're in him, you're fucking him. Can you clarify this?
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you weave a dark web.
Wow, that was very fast.
I'm not fucking him yet, but if he plays his cards right, who knows what's going to happen. And as far as the Blame Truth response diss, yeah, I'd say that's coming.
Nice.
Been coming for about
Excellent.
8 years. I'm just waiting. No, it's not. I don't care. Sometimes I would get kind of like butthurt that everybody would pile on to those jokes at the same time. But yeah, his impression sucked. I'm just going to go on record and say his impression of me sucked. Wasn't like
That wasn't too good. No.
I mean, listen.
Truth. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I'm sorry. Is Blame Truth on this podcast right now? You know, point in case. You know,
Yeah.
I think you're living your life as the you living your life as the best revenge, Hutch. Let's be real. I'm just kidding. There's no beef.
By the way, just, yeah.
No, me either. Okay.
All right.
I'm just gonna skip my last question.
Oh, no.
Actually, you know what? I'll go ahead.
Just do it. Just fucking do it.
Now we have to.
I mean, one of your peers, I guess you could call him that, only used me blade, took $50 or something to stick his thumb up his ass. On stream, would you do the same?
I don't know. That was your question. I thought you were going to ask him if
Is that a comment or a question?
I did not see that one on the interview slate.
Yeah, what?
Well, somebody said butt hurt, and then I just my mind went to one place, and
So confused.
just watch next week for Only Use Me Blade on the KBMOD podcast.
Oh, God.
No.
We might have to screen that.
I have so many thoughts on that. I wouldn't even know where to begin. I don't know. I'm just going to leave it.
You can
Leave that one alone.
leave that one. There's no harm there.
That is all I had.
How do you not get permabanned? I don't. Okay.
I think he did.
Well,
I think he did.
That oddly enough, that is not the thing that got him permabanned.
Really? Oh, okay.
Second chances are
I
great.
don't understand. Oh,
All right.
yeah,
I have one more question for you, Hutch.
yeah. Go shoot for it.
Is
Shoot.
a hot dog a sandwich?
Yeah, it's gotta be a sandwich. What else is it?
I mean, that's
It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
It's your opinion.
I'd say it's a sandwich. Yeah, and pineapple does not belong on pizza. I think that's disgusting. That's my.
all right.
That's
Well, I
my
think this
opinion.
interview segment's over.
Yeah.
You're having a Quentin Tarantino moment right now.
Oh, man.
Shaming me.
You're my new
Brandon.
Quentin Tarantino.
Brandon doesn't understand all the Hutch hype, dude. That was it. The pineapple thing that did it. Shit.
And
Our-
unpopular opinion, but I'm glad they killed Harambe. I'll say it.
Ooh.
Dang.
You think I'm kidding? I'm not. I'm glad they
Justified.
killed Harambe, because if that was your little brother in the cage with Harambe, you would have wanted that motherfucking gorilla shot. And so,
I think people confuse. Can I just say, because I actually was on your stream the other day watching you debate that with
you saw that?
in
Okay.
H1, yeah. And I was with your stance. I think people confuse the fact that they get so mad at the parents that they lose total sight. I mean, again, we can argue about the parenting or the merit of it, or like how does that happen, but whatever. If it's a kid in a cage and they don't know how what the gorilla is doing, if it's going to save it or kill it, it did drag it through the water, you got to shoot it. I mean, there's nothing that they weren't gonna not shoot it, like they had to. So I'm with you too. I'm not necessarily glad. I wouldn't use the word glad. I think it was an unfortunate
I'm
situation.
glad
Okay.
they killed that gorilla.
Okay.
Glad.
Fair enough.
I'm just gonna say it.
I kind of know where you're coming from.
That doesn't make any
Oh.
sense. Your parents are shitty parents, so you gotta die, kid. I'm sorry, but that's just
Yeah, that logic.
because your parents weren't keeping a close eye on you. We're gonna let this gorilla
Yeah,
rip limb to
That's
limb.
true. Like
Literally-
he's he's a fucking little kid. Like does he deserve to die for his parents' bad parenting? You're right. I don't think
Actually, I actually do have one more question. I noticed you are one of the few that are actually openly political on Twitter.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a perfect segue into our first story, by the way.
So people like, I guess we'll just talk about it right now. JonTron, he was basically the developers of yooka-laylee was ditched him for his political standpoints. But then I find it pretty interesting that some influencers, content creators, or something can talk about their political standpoints, but then it's more of a conversation. It's that's what I see on your Twitter. At least you don't spit something out and then don't talk about it, right? And I don't know what.
You also don't appear to be like an overt racist, from what I can tell.
Well, that too. Yes, but
I try not. On my good days, I'm not an overt racist, but it's pretty dark in the Discord sometimes when I'm not live. Like the thing with that was like, he just had some, in my opinion, and I watched that entire interview. I don't know about you guys, but I went to bed listening to that entire podcast.
I heard the whole thing. Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm a company, I think it would make. All right. There's no other way to interpret what JonTron said besides he's advocating for some form of white supremacy. You can call it white supremacist light if you want to, or like a soft white supremacy. But he said he would kind of like dance around it, like the Destiny guy would basically say, "Well, that sounds racist to me," and he goes, "Well, it's not racist for whites to advocate for their own survival." Is basically what he said. He said, "I like that whites are a majority in the country, and it's not wrong that I want to keep it like that." And there's no other way to interpret that. And to me, like, why would you advocate for something if that didn't give you an advantage? If discrimination exists, or he was saying that discrimination doesn't exist. If discrimination doesn't exist, then why do you want to maintain your majority standing if you don't have an advantage? So the whole thing just felt so disingenuous to me. Like,
which he then backtracked on in the apology video. He said that he misspoke and that discrimination does exist. But that sounds like forced attrition to me. Yes, like it praying does. To God so that you don't go to hell instead of actually being remorseful. But that whole thing was interesting, man. Like politics I learned a lot from 2016. I'll tell you that. I've changed a lot of behaviors. I'm not as like I used to do the whole quote retweet the trolls quite a bit, and I don't really do that much anymore. Yeah, because I just kind of like it took me a long time to reach that realization, but I just realized that it's not helping anything. Like it's not who's that helping? It's like, it doesn't make me feel any better to try and shame someone else, even however deplorable. Yes, deplorable. Oh my God, you used the trigger word. Use the D.
They may be acting on Twitter. It's not really in my. Who is it helping for me to quote retweet that?
So or
smart or something like that. Like no, it's
right. What I was going to say, do you ever have hesitate? I mean, because you have like you work in this industry, you have certain deals and stuff. Like, has anybody? Obviously, you don't have to tell me, but like, do you ever take pause and be like, all right? I mean, not that again, you engage in actual conversation and you don't throw out these vague things or go on. Like you articulate what you're actually trying to say, and I think that's one of the thing with the JonTron thing is like if we have to extrapolate because. If you listen to the entire Destiny thing, it's hard to come away with, like you said, anything else than what he's advocating for, and regardless, like yes, he can say whatever he wants, like, but it's going to clearly impact, when advertisers and like we said with this game, yooka-laylee, when they hear this stuff, it's going to make people go like, okay, well, this is not a stance that we want associated with our game. And can I say real quick? So what we're talking about is. I think you mentioned it earlier, Brad, but the game yooka-laylee, they basically ditches voice acting over his personal views. And one thing I saw on Twitter that was very heavy was that, and I think you saw this too, but that he should sue because they were violating his First Amendment rights.
Oh,
so there's which is hilarious.
Well, because for many reasons. Because first, it's just like they're not denying him anything. It's part of their project, their game. And,
well, sure.
And then second of all, they're not even American based, so it's not against his
but
so that by itself is just hilarious. But
it's been talked about ad nauseum, but like freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences. You can say whatever the fuck you want. And freedom of speech, when we talk about it in a constitutional sense, we're talking about in the eyes of the law. No government can tell you can or can't say anything. But if it's a private company or something like that, they don't have to fucking advertise you. They don't have to. If you make your beliefs public about something and it just so happens that it may be a little racist, then why would it surprise anybody? Like this, it's the young 4chan crowd that are really like the young, really loud 4chan or 4chan r/the Donald crowd that are completely convinced that there's this like leftist conspiracy to suppress any kind of dissent in this country, or I don't know. It all seems like a bunch of nonsense to me.
Hutch, I'm curious to get your thoughts on kind of where you kind of draw the line on talking about politics or maybe like controversial issues as a content creator, because I think this is just one example of and like I think the recent PewDiePie stuff around his videos and all of that. It seems like a lot of times there's not a ton of upside to discussing controversial issues or putting it out there publicly. Do you think that talking about going back to like how the industry has changed some, do you see that becoming a bigger theme, that people basically shy away from talking about that stuff because the upside is low and the downside is high?
Well, I don't think that talking about politics is good for social media growth. In fact, I know it's not. But I think like I don't look at my Twitter as just purely like a business decision. Like I treat Twitter like, okay, if you're hitting follow, then I assume you want you want to know what's going on in my head on some level. You don't need to check it every day to see what I'm saying, but like something about me made you curious. So I don't think people follow people on Twitter just to be like, hey guys, I uploaded a video, or hey guys, I'm going live. Like they want to know what you have to say about certain stuff. There's very few things that I'm not willing to talk about openly.
Well, but I think it's pretty.
Like,
okay.
I'm just saying, like, but when you do that, I think it's important to understand when you go into it, you are inviting. You better have some fortitude, because, man, like being openly anti-Trump in 2016 on Twitter just attracted like I didn't know that people had those kind of like I just assumed that people had those kind of extremist views. Some of the tweets that I was getting, but to see it was really something else, and you kind of I had to learn from that, I think.
Well, I think it's pretty interesting. So you have this platform, and there's two sides of everything where people are saying. So, like, I watched Funhouse talk about the JonTron incident, and they basically came to the conclusion of, like, JonTron should just shut up. And then on the other side, I've heard people like Casey Neistat say, you have this huge platform, use it. So it's like, so in your mind, I guess kind of going back to Brandon's question, like, is there a line, or as an influencer, should people be using their platform?
Here, I'm gonna make it really real for Hutch. If you had somebody that's currently that like sponsors you, and they came to you and they said, Hutch, we want to keep working with you, but because of your political tweets, we regardless of what they are, even if we agree with them, we don't want to be presented in that way, so we can't be with you anymore. Would that affect? Would you say, all right, well then I'll cool it down, or would you say, well then I don't want you as a sponsor?
No, I would say adios. Go find.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
But is that because of where you're at? Like, I'm just being honest.
I think it's because of the times that we're living in. I mean, it could be because of where I'm at. Maybe if I was like a smaller streamer or YouTuber, I wouldn't. Maybe that would sway me. But I honestly believe that what we're living in right now, this is the defining moment for our generation. For my parents, it was Vietnam and civil rights and all that. And I think where we're at now, this is one of those huge forks in the road where we can either go this direction, or we can go this direction, or we can go this direction. And I think just to sound, God, I'm going to sound so preachy and douchey, but I think like, I think if I'm interested in this stuff and I think this stuff's important, then I should be using. I'm kind of with Casey Neistat on this one, where it's like, I do think that there are things going on right now that people you don't need to share my point of view, but I think people need to be aware of what's happening, and I think that they need to be discussing it with whoever that is. And if a few people that follow me suddenly become curious about politics because of some post that I made that day, then that makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I've done a good thing. So yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to this situation, I can totally understand why they did what they did. Though I do, like, because even though I kind of shook, like, I listened to the whole thing, and it was a mix of a train wreck where, like, again, like, some people think that he was able to articulate his views so that they made more sense, and I still, even though he did, I personally may not agree with them. It is kind of it, even though it does feel a little scorched earth to literally remove, like, voice acting from a game altogether that was already done because of personal viewpoints. And again, it's totally their prerogative to do, and that's obviously the risk that you run, especially like you said, because comments and things you say are going to have consequences, especially when you're as big as somebody like JonTron. But Katie, what are your thoughts? Like, for me, I think I wouldn't have this wasn't a situation like if I wanted to play and I was going to play this game and JonTron was still in it voice acting. For me personally, even though I didn't agree with a lot of what I felt like he was saying, it wasn't a situation where I was going to be like, well, I wouldn't play the game. But again, they're obviously feel like they would take that risk if they left him in there. But what are your thoughts, Katie? Because you had talked about it a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm really excited for yooka-laylee. And honestly, before this came out, I didn't even know that JonTron was going to make an appearance in the game. So it really doesn't affect me that way. And I kind of see both sides of it, where I initially thought, keeping him in the game, all it is his voice. It's not like some kid is going to play that, hear JonTron's voice, and interpret that as Don the Cap, my child, anything like that. But
let's just talk for a moment too that yooka-laylee voices are done in the same way Banjo-Kazooie voices would be.
Yeah, you don't.
None of it would be like you would not be able to understand it even just listening to it. So
exactly, it's gonna be or something.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Oh, my grandtilda right there. No, but then I also see by allowing JonTron to be in the game, they're sort of in a way celebrating JonTron, and kind of I could see how somebody could interpret that as condoning him coming out and offending a wide basis of people. But at the end of the day, I understand it, and I'm still going to play the game. I'm not going to boycott it over not having JonTron. It's not that big of a deal. But
so you're even on the other side where you're because there's some real diehard fans who feel like he's getting a terrible shake, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like JonTron, but I completely understand the exclusion of them taking it out.
He's going to be fine.
Oh yeah, and he's going to be fine. And I can separate me disagreeing and even like you said, whatever you said, if you want to call it white supremacist light or whatever else, or even just I can separate that and still be okay, I appreciate his content and stuff like that. We don't have to see eye to eye on everything. And, but there is a certain level of, but I think on the other side too, is that some people feel like that having any kind of conversation about this, if there's an opposing viewpoint, people just get labeled racist and whatever else. But in this case with JonTron, and that can happen, but I was saying in this case with JonTron, that was a direct result of how he presented himself. This wasn't a result of it just, you know what I mean? Just being attached to him right away.
Yeah.
If you listen to that, it's very hard to come away and be like, well, I don't understand what he's trying to say if it's not this. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And yes, he tried to clarify and all that kind of stuff. And you can debate whether or not he did that successfully, depending on what your own views are. I don't think he did. I don't think. I think even though he clarified, I don't necessarily agree with his conclusions. But I can also separate the fact that but that's the other thing is there's also something where I feel like people hold their content creators, and it happens in movies, it happens with everything else, it happens on YouTube. like up as on these pedestals, and that's why I try to never do that with anybody I'm a fan of. Like, have you ever met like an actor or musician or somebody that you think that you really, really like? You ever met me? Nobody would hold me up like that, but I'm a dick. Like, if you ever meet me at TwitchCon, I'm not anything like I am here. I'm kidding. I'm actually the same person.
I hope so.
Yeah.
No,
I don't want to come to Philly and just
But there's that cult of like there's that kind of cult following that people get where they just are so flabbergasted. Like, I was reading through comments of like people that watch JonTron videos, and they were like, I can't believe this. I'm going to unsub. I can't believe I ever donated to this. You know what I mean? And again,
I think that all comes back to the fact that like freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences. And
absolutely.
when you are someone like he is, who has a following, you do risk that like having extremist viewpoints in either direction is going to turn some people off. And so I think like I look at this yooka-laylee thing as like, yeah, they could have left him in and it wouldn't have been a big deal, but it is like, I think what Hutch is talking about like being active more in this climate than ever. Yeah. Like, this is being active. It's like, no, we're not going to give implicit endorsement to someone that we vehemently disagree with. And it makes a statement when it's like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's just a little voice acting. But it makes a statement that they went to the effort to take him out because that's how strongly they repudiate what he's saying.
Yeah. He said, man, kind of goes without saying, but he said some real outlandish stuff, man. The moment in that whole exchange that struck me more than any other moment was when he confidently spouted off this stat about how wealthy black men commit more crimes than poor white men.
Right.
Confidently says that, and then tells him, yeah, bro, look it up, Google it, and there's just no data that supports him. What motivates someone to say something like that confidently? And when I think about it in my mind, it can only be someone who thinks that anyways,
I know where you're going.
Non-whiteness is a threat to the social order is basically what the main argument ends up being, and really that I think that's like the defining question of our time. I think that's where the big divide is in this country. Is you either see non-whiteness as a threat, or you don't see it as anything at all, or you see it as a good thing. And it's really upsetting because we thought we had collectively in this country, we all pretended like we solved the problem of racism and post Cold War, everything was just going to be this. We're heading towards this great utopia, and all of a sudden, these cracks in the armor started showing in the last 5 years. And now I just feel like with the 2016 election season, it's really kind of shown this country to be as divided as it really was, sort of behind the scenes the entire time. But now it's just out in the open, and it's a really interesting time to be alive. Is one way to say it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've never seen anything like this. This cultural crossroads that we're at, we've never seen anything like this before. So, if you're a history buff, at the very least, you can say that you're living through history right now.
That's what I always say is that if I live another 30, 40 years and I go I lived during that, and it was as insane, because I'm just imagining people reading it in the history books, right? For whatever happens, I'm I wish we could fast forward to that point so there'd be some kind of conclusion, the waiting period, and living through it's a little bit stressful, I think. But I just thinking about I want people to ask me, my grandchildren, be like, did that really happen? I'm like, oh yeah, it happened. And we all scratched, it's just crazy. But it is, I totally agree. I think it is a real crossroads moment. So very interesting.
You know what? You know what else people might look back in history and see? Call of Duty going back to World War II.
Gotta work on this.
I'm sorry, man.
What a segue.
Wait, was that a segue? I was so confused what Hutch was doing. I didn't even know.
That was Chris Farley from the Chris Farley Show right there. That's
hard segue from political commentary to Call of Duty rumors.
Oh, man. Are they even any different, though? Are they any different? Let's be real.
Man.
No. Man, if it's actually called Call of Duty World War II,
that'd be dog shit.
Come on.
It's awful.
Lord. Or Call of Duty, because they're on this 3-year cycle now. So,
Well, they have a different studio every year.
Into the game design 3 years before, so Infinite Warfare knew they were doing jetpacks 3 years ago or 3.5 years ago, but then all of a sudden, a year before their game launches, everyone's saying how much they hate jetpacks. That sucks for them because they already committed to that game.
Can I just ask? I've been wanting to ask you this since I was thinking about getting you on the cast. How, as somebody that's obviously still plays Call of Duty regularly and does play the actual remaster and all this stuff, and as somebody that really enjoys Counter-Strike and routinely just does Valve rants every 6 months because they've continued to fuck up a game that I think actually definitely has its issues, but is still, they haven't gone full blown Activision.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Modern Warfare remaster, where they kept going back, where they first said, okay, it's just going to be a remaster, and that's it. There's not going to be crates. There's not going to be. Then they did that, and then they go, okay, well, it'll just be cosmetic. There won't be guns, right? And then they did that, and then Hutch, we talked about this on the cast. They released that map pack of the old maps for $15 and I don't even play Call of Duty, and I was upset. I was like, how much can they shit down the mouths of the people that continue to enjoy the franchise? Do you just accept it as what it is and just go on, or do you ever feel like this is insane? What are they?
I complain about it and I accept it. You know what I mean? So when it happens, when they incrementally kind of backtrack on the promises that they made, I'll be vocally opposed to it on Twitter and stuff. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is just the way it's gonna be from now on. It would behoove Activision to be more upfront about this stuff and be like, we are gonna add crates, just not for the first 2 months, instead of lying or maybe misleading what their intentions are.
Yeah.
But the whole mystery crate model is not gonna go away. It's not. No. That's kind of the future of AAA titles, I think. So it's kind of silly to still be complaining about it, but at the same time, $15 for a fucking $10 map pack from 10 years ago.
Oh my god!
How do you justify that? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you too. I mean, I saw an auto shotgun in COD 4, and I flipped the fuck out. So seeing new weapons. I was gonna ask you. You play a lot of game battles, so really, how often? Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, you can't use them in game battles, so that's a thing.
Oh, okay.
I love the idea of adding new weapons to COD 4. It's a 10-year-old game, why not? I think making it fresh. Okay. And the weapons themselves aren't crazy overpowered.
Do they feel out of place at all, or do they feel like they could have been in the game, 10 years ago and been fine? Or...
No, they could have been in the game just fine 10 years ago. I don't have a problem with them adding guns, but I wish that, for example, I had to spend $40 on supply drops to get all 3 of the guns. It was $40 for 3 guns.
And that model can go fuck itself.
That seems ridiculous to me. I mean, you can technically grind for what they call, I think, salvage or whatever, to you don't have to spend money. I don't know. So, but it would take a long time of just grinding the game to get those weapons without paying any money.
You seem like you're in the same place with Call of Duty that I am with Valve, where I am always I'm basically just communication. But and like you said, if they come out and said, no, we're gonna milk you in whatever form that they wanted to do it, it still would be painful, because a lot of stuff Valve does I don't agree with, but when they at least communicate it, it's okay, well, I'm glad that they at least told us what they were gonna do.
I barely played Infinite Warfare, so I'm a rank 26 or something like that, so I'm not nearly as into Call of Duty as I once was, but I like the competitive aspect of it, just for probably the same reason you like playing, what is it called, ESO? What's that?
ESEA.
ESEA.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're saying playing Face It or ESEA are separate? Yeah.
The
separate
services. Competitive stuff is still fun to me, but public matches and stuff like that,
you won't do it.
Not for the new one. New one's not that good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the kind of vibe I got. I mean, I used to pride myself in playing every Call of Duty when it came out. I mean, not buying it at full price, but at least knowing where the series was going. And Infinite Warfare just has not piqued my interest in the slightest.
No.
So does this for everybody? Does this return to World War II possibly? Does this excite you?
Yes.
To me, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would love a game like that. Yeah. I think if they took that, go ahead.
It's Sledgehammer, so we'll see. Advanced Warfare wasn't really my cup of tea, so we'll see if they. It was their net code, like however they did lag comp in Advanced Warfare was just awful. The hit detection on console was terrible. So if they can fix that, you know, and make it interesting, you don't. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I didn't think I would look forward to it until they announced it, and then I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm definitely ready to go back and give that another shot.
I just see World War II, and then I remember that this game is going to have gingerbread man outfits and bacon camo skins. It's being made by Sledgehammer, and I just have to. Well, that's probably not going to remain the vision of the game I want it to be.
World War II was like.
Yeah, that's
absolutely
World War II.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot about that tactic or that gear.
American soldiers running around with golden guns, shooting Nazis.
Yeah.
I mean, gold guns and like traditional, I guess is the word for camos. Like I don't mind that, but I just like something about just the ridiculousness of the point that Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3 both escalated to, just completely like sours my view of the game. Like I don't know if any of you guys feel that way. It just kind of ruins the vision of it.
I don't even think they had camos for World at War, did they? I don't think they had any camos.
No.
That was so long ago.
But that was that was a while. I just don't understand. Like we talk about Call of Duty a lot in the sense of like when will the franchise die, if ever? When will they go to a model where they're not on this 3-year cycle? Like will they go the Counter-Strike model where they make a Call of Duty and then they just update it with DLC and incremental updates, but the core game stays the same, right? And I don't know, maybe a time's coming that they'll do that, maybe not, because I mean, sales of like you said, Infinite Warfare, and it says in this article, were way down from what they thought it was going to be. But how do you, when you've crammed so much stuff into a game, when it comes to kill streaks and equipment and everything else, when they say back to the roots and stuff like that, when fans come to expect a certain thing, how do you pull back? Like I'm expecting like, can you do that when you've already pushed the franchise a direction where there is so many other things inside inherently in the game that people come to expect? And I'm not even saying the diehards, like with you, like you like playing 4v4 competitive and all that stuff. There's rules if you play game battles and it's more stripped down, but that's not the majority of the casual audience. So I think they're also battling against that because COD is like, I went to a bank the other day and the guy was like, "Oh, you stream on Twitch? Do you play Call of Duty?" And I was like, I mean, but like he meant, and especially too, like in the casual sense, like, do you have Infinite Warfare? And so that's I think the main base. So do you ever, like, when it comes to like a World War II, we're trying to strip it back? Do you think that's going to be met with backlash?
No, I think it's going to be received really well.
Okay.
I think all Sledgehammer needed to do was say it's going to be boots on the ground. And it could be anything. It could be modern. It could be it could be World War II. It could be Vietnam. That everybody would be happy and they are happy that it's going back to boots on the ground.
Okay.
Cool. I think it's going to be received really well. And I think even if it's not that great of a game, people are going to be like, "This is incredible," just because they've had 3 years of jetpacks. There are a lot of people that don't like the jetpacks. So.
As someone that used to play like. Jetpacks immediately turned me off, and I haven't touched. I don't think any of them since they've added them. Like it just like I tried playing them and I just didn't like it. It's just something about it. It's just I don't know. But yeah,
Black Ops 3 was. I thought the movement in that game was actually pretty good.
I agree. Yeah.
They slowed it down for Infinite Warfare. It feels like they still have wall running and the thrust pack, but it just feels a little bit slower and. Yeah, it's not for me. And Advanced Warfare was just way too fast. Like it was like
hit twice, and you're just almost free from danger.
Yeah, you can get across the map in like 0.2 seconds in that game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention that this rumor leak was revealed in a video by a YouTube channel called The Family Video Gamers.
No. Oh, no, I didn't realize. That's amazing.
So
KD?
Seems like a reliable source.
Charlie Intel?
No. The
Charlie
Family Video
Intel.
Gamers.
Well, Charlie Intel was linking from their Twitter account, and they're like the big like COD News channel account.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's the same guy that the guy that leaked these images is the same guy that leaked Infinite Warfare the year before that. who is also the same guy that leaked Black Ops 3.
Really?
So in the forum, like wherever he posted it, is probably NeoGaf or something like that. He's actually got a solid record of leaking credible shit every year. So,
what is with that forum, NeoGaf, that just gets all the leaks for video games? Like, have you guys noticed that?
I think there are a lot of game devs on NeoGaf. So, and I think it's obviously some kind of a dev that's leaking all this shit. So, I don't know.
Well, all right. Well, there you go. So I'm going to let you, Hutch, you segued so well from the last news piece. I want you to segue into this next one. You got it, dude. Hit me.
Dude, I can't.
Come on.
Speaking of rehashes.
Okay. Wait. Okay.
Yeah, StarCraft is being remastered. The original to support 4K, new audio, BattleNet support, and LAN support, among other things. And I think their expansions are being provided free along with the game. I don't know. I can't really add to this because I suck at these type of games and couldn't really get into StarCraft because of that. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
StarCraft 1 was a lot of fun back in the day. I was in like 8th grade when that game came out, but definitely, I'm all for remastered stuff. It doesn't bother me. Some people.
StarCraft. Like, I've never played it, but it always seemed like something I'd get into, like something really competitive like that. So I'd love to give it a try.
I feel like that's why this remaster will be a good thing, because you should absolutely play StarCraft. Like, that's a classic that you need to experience, but the graphics have not aged particularly well. So a remastered version with nice graphics is the perfect way for you, a younger gamer, to experience StarCraft.
And like, I think the game looks great with this update. It feels like really like a subtle, just really ultimately great looking, but a lot of people are really tearing into it in the comments, like saying like there's no like motion blur, like, you know, Gondrays or bloom or anything. It's just a straight like textures have been changed, some things that are like more higher quality 3D renders, it looks like, but ultimately it looks like the like same game.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to find a way to complain about it, but ultimately, it looks better than it did, and I think this will probably do something to kind of rebuild the StarCraft community some, like, because I think a lot of people consider Brood War to be, you know, a better competitive game than StarCraft 2, so I wouldn't be surprised with StarCraft 2 kind of being in continual decline if the pro scene has kind of a resurgence around Brood War with this remaster. And also the original, like the non-remaster version, the original StarCraft and Brood War are going to be free. So I think that's pretty cool too.
Cool. Very cool. Okay. All right. Well, we have taken up a lot of Hutch's time so far tonight. So I want to get to, before he has to go, I want to jump into some questions here. So we'll come back to the new releases, Katie. Don't you worry about that. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Your segment is not cut.
I got worried.
Your segment is not cut. But I need Hutch on a few of these, at least one of these viewer questions here. So we're gonna swing a little bit and change it up. So the first question, which you can ask by you can hit us up on Twitter. We also have an email. You can send in an email question. Those are usually pretty good as well. But this first question on Twitter comes from iBigSatchel, and he asks us, I'm visiting relatives for a week and have access to Wawa sheets for the first time in my life. What do I have to try to believe the hype? And so this is a very specific question. I think I'm the only person that can answer it, I think.
What the fuck are Wawa sheets? What's that?
And the reason it's in here is because I am baffled that California has 7 fucking 11s, man, and that's it. And so on the East Coast, Hutch, we have these Wawa or sheets, and there's some others too, Turkey Hill. But basically what they are is like, think of a 7-Eleven, but it does full service food, and it's like generally like way more like put together, and there's a lot more food items, hot and cold. So you can get like hoagies, you can get in sheets, you can get full fried foods, you can get a bit of everything. And it's kind of like a East Coast culture here, and there's usually a beef between like the two different locations, Wawa and Sheetz. And I just don't understand why in California I don't understand why, like in California, correct me if I'm wrong, but if something like that came along that was better quality than 7-Eleven, offered full service food, and was convenient, people would use it.
If something came along that was better quality than 7-Eleven.
I'm sorry, I could just stop. I could stop there, right? But I'm saying, but they actually market it in those. Answering? It doesn't in those regions. Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, to answer your question real quick, man, there's a lot of good things, dude. Just I prefer like Sheetz. Sheetz does a lot more like fried foods and stuff like that. You can get a lot more. I would argue mediocre fare at Sheetz, but they have a bigger menu than Wawa does. So you could go that route. As far as like Wawa, dude, get an Italian shorty. Their hoagies are really good. I actually really like their chicken, their chicken fare. They have a hot turkey sub that's fucking incredible around Thanksgiving. You get you get cranberry, the hot turkey, nice cheese on there. It's incredible. There's so many things, dude.
Delivery places are just taking over. Like the door.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that.
And all that.
Postmates.
I think it's like the shittiest time ever to open something like a 7-Eleven or a Sheetz in California because everybody just orders some Postmates service or whatever.
I didn't really think about that, but I guess that makes a lot of sense. Maybe that's what people are doing. They don't even want to go out; they just want it delivered to the house. So that's a step too far.
They'll be delivering our food in drones in like 5 or 10 years. Did you see that they have passenger drones now in Dubai? In Dubai,
no,
it picks you up like a taxi and flies you around.
What? Oh God, I did not see that. That's blowing
Holy shit!
I would never ever fly something like that. Never. I did let a Tesla drive me around though, which was really awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Really?
I don't know. I feel like I'm changing the subject really.
No, it's fine. No.
Well, no, I mean, but you can get. I'm looking at it right now. You can get DoorDash from 7-Eleven for $7.99. I could get 7-Eleven delivered to me for $8.
Why would you? Oh, that hurts me,
dude. I want my $5 pizza.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, well there you go. So anyway, I can come up with a few more if you want. Hey, listen, to answer this question personally, Satchel, just visiting relatives for a week at me, and I'll hit you up with some of my favorites from Wawa. Again, so Pittsburgh area, Sheetz reigns supreme. The Wawa's not really out there, but there's some decent things at Sheetz too. I prefer Wawa myself, but Sheetz has some decent stuff. So hit me up on Twitter at APL Fisher. Or you can just come and subscribe to my stream directly, twitch.tv/APL Fisher. I generally tend to answer subs questions a little bit quicker than Twitter, so we'll sell it there. I'm just kidding. Kind of. All right, real quick. Seth on Twitter says, my nephew wants to be a YouTuber when he grows up. Besides dissuading him, what advice would you give to an aspiring memer? And you know what? I'm going to let Hutch hit that up because he's been doing YouTube for a lot longer than anybody and inspired a lot of people, so.
Oh,
this
man.
is for you.
How young are we talking here? Are we just assuming that it's like a 12-year-old?
It's probably younger, but sure. Let's say it's a 12-year-old.
If I had a kid and they were like 8 or 10 or something like that, I would not let them have a YouTube channel. No way. No way. I don't know. That's terrible advice. I think that's too young.
Okay. So let's say he's older. What if he was like, what if he's a 15, 16-year-old kid? Or even when you start, I don't know, what were you? Were you in your later teen years when you started? You had to be.
Yeah. No. I was like mid-20s, actually. I was like DJ status, yeah.
Okay.
But like for that age, I would say like focus more on the gameplay than your personality, because like when you're young, you tend to think you know everything, but you don't actually have a whole lot of life experience, you know? So by the time, if you keep doing it, by the time you're like 18, 19 years old, you might have a whole library of videos where you just kind of sound like a moron, or you might regret some of the things that you said. This is terrible advice. This is just terrible advice. I'd say probably the most important thing these days is to find a crew of people that you can reliably play with and that you bounce off of well. Because it's a lot easier to bounce off of other people than it is to be a one-man show. You know what I mean? I think very few people can do that one-man show thing. So yeah, finding a good group of people I think is probably the most important.
Advice.
He really stumped you when he took dissuading away from your
yeah, because I mean that was, to be fair, that was your first answer. Yeah, just don't do it.
I'll just dissuade them if I could. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, though, like it's funny that you like because I don't interact with young children all that often. This sounds weird, but my niece and nephews,
the court order saw to that.
Of course, yeah, it's with supervision I can. But honestly,
it's an archaic law, anyways. So.
It is. I don't understand.
You're a the U.S. You know what I mean?
Have my own Jontron moment here, real quick. No, but it's amazing to me every time I do kind of just see what they're up to. And even so, I went to my niece's 4th birthday party today, and she just watches YouTube, and everything that she relates to is people that she's watched on YouTube. She watched toy review channels. She watches, and everything out of her mouth. It's not like SpongeBob or whatever any else. It's like, oh, this YouTuber did this, did that. And even some of the older kids too, like 15, 16, just constantly asking me like, oh yeah, do you watch this YouTuber? Yeah, I saw him do this, and what they buy, what they're interested in. It's amazing. So like, I don't think dissuading, like this is I don't think it's as simple as that. I think it's this generation growing up and seeing this as like something aspiring to be. It's not a one-off situation, I guess I should say, as much as I thought it was. It's like they are being raised on YouTube for real, and it's replacing the cartoons. It's replacing everything else. And so it is kind of scary because I feel the same way like as you, Hutch. When I see this, I'm like, I do not want my kids not having a YouTube channel until they're like out of the house. Then they can have their YouTube channel when I'm not a part of it. But
if they know what they want to do, you know what I mean? If it's just a case of them just generally wanting to be in front of a camera and relating to people, I don't think like I don't think it's especially realistic to assume you'll make a career out of that. But if you have a goal in mind, if I had a kid that was like 13, 14, 15 years old and they said, okay, well, here's my vision for the channel and here's what I want to do, then I think maybe I might take it seriously. But if it's just sort of just a general goal, then I think they're sort of setting themselves up for failure in the long run these days. I think you need to have some kind of a game plan. Like, what am I offering? What am I bringing to the table?
Gotcha.
That's getting harder and harder, I think, with so many people doing it these days.
Yeah, saturation. It's crazy.
There's some pretty good advice from Yingity Yang in the chat. He says, leave comments on popular channels asking people to check out your channel.
Oh, God.
So definitely recommend that one.
Yeah.
That's the best way. God.
Guys.
That's right. It's called Box for Box. Box for Box would be my answer on the old YouTube layout,
God.
But that's rest in peace for like 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah, the kids won't even know what that means.
They won't. It's so sad, dude.
They still have boxes, like featured channels on the right side. It's just nobody ever uses those anymore.
Oh, do they? See, I haven't even seen it.
They're still there. They're still alive and kicking.
Okay.
We've given all this advice about how to be relevant in YouTube. Tomorrow we're going to get a video on the channel saying why I hacked KBMOD.com. Some little kid.
Oh, God. Honestly, that actually just put the fear of God in me because I told Keemstar I would only use my blade. I would box them 5 years ago, and I thought I got out of it because boxes don't exist. Fuck, Hutch.
Oh, God.
Got me. Oh, well. I'll
We're
box.
going to hold you to it, man.
I will. Okay, and real quick, the last one, and then we're going to let Hutch go. This is an email question. Yes, an email question from Love Muffin, spelled with a 1. And it goes, I don't know if it reads as a story or what, but it's titled A Gift, in quotes. Hey, KBMOD. I recently discovered I am super magical, so I have a proposition for you. I will give you the gift of flight. You heard me right. Flight. Supersonic speed, immunity to atmospheric dangers, and you never fart while flying. The last bit is important because of this one caveat. You no longer have any control over the force of your flatulence near the ground. Sometimes it might launch you into the ceiling. It might come out to the tune of Yankee Doodle, or maybe you get negative pressure and it rockets back through your digestive tract and out your mouth. Oh, this one is super rare. That's fucked up. Also, if you take the deal, I'll throw in a 360 copy of Assassin's Creed 2.
Oh,
wow, that's lucrative. From Love Muffin.
Sweetened.
Wow, what on earth? Love you. Drive safe. Kisses.
Fart yourself into the ceiling. I think that's just a safe. I don't think that's a smart thing to do. I would say no. I would say no.
Not gonna take.
No, because then I'd just be this lonely dude that nobody wants to hang out with. Like, yeah, I can fly, but you're not going to invite me to your niece's bat mitzvah.
That's true.
Well, I think you would always be scared because you never know if it's going to be. I mean, like if it's coming out to some tune, that's not that big a deal, right? It's awkward, but it's not life threatening. Launching you into the ceiling. I mean, you're just one random occurrence away from dying.
Yeah, that's really fucked.
Well, I mean, I'd take it for the 360 copy of Assassin's Creed 2 personally.
Well, most definitely.
You could be sleeping. You could be sleeping, and a fart.
Yeah.
Actually, that's true. Yeah,
nighttime flatulence. That's a real thing.
What I'm thinking is, he said you never fart while you're flying. Right. So I would just, if I can go supersonic speed, my stamina for flying is probably pretty high. So I would just fly my entire day. Like I'd probably try to levitate in place.
Yeah, but think about if you had the gift of flight, you only want that in the context of like living a regular life a lot of the time. Like being able to fly is really nice and useful and awesome, but it's mainly awesome to like get places. If you have to stay in the air, like you wouldn't want to just be an airplane constantly.
Yeah, I would. That would be sick. No. I can deal with some uncomfortable farting.
Nah, man. You get used to it. Be like a bird. You think birds are flying the whole time? I'm flying. No.
Okay, well, if you turn on the news and you see local bird flies, you're not going to get, that's not going to be a real humdinger. But if you see local man flies, you're talking about fame.
That's the thing. What good is that to you? Because you're not going to be able to see the news. You're going to be in the air.
What? Yeah. I can fly close to the ground. I can fly indoors.
No, but if you're near the ground, you risk this flatulence.
I can deal with that if I'm fucking flying. Like, I think you guys are kind of underhyping just how excellent
I think you're taking the short view of this.
I think you're in the infatuation phase with flight, and then like they're saying after like maybe even a month, maybe a year, you're going to be like, I really resent the fact that if I step on the ground, I could possibly, once my flatulence takes over, I don't know if I'm going to be okay. And I can't, like you said, relationships, nobody else. You are the only person who's able to do this, right? So, I don't know.
One could call it a shitty deal, as it were.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh, wow.
I see.
Well done.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So but he also said near the ground. So what if you were able to set up something so that like, if you can fly at plane speeds, if you can board plane, like what if you're in a plane, like and you're not on the ground, obviously. So then technically, is your flatulence
but why even fly in a plane? That's just a less effective mode of transportation than you've.
I'm saying for doing stuff like eating and just interacting with people. You wouldn't have to constantly
So you just live in planes,
basically, to do a lot of your stuff. If you didn't, I don't know. That's
I feel like you would have to live such an abnormal life to deal with this on a daily basis. Like it would just be too unpredictable.
That'd be rough. I definitely am not taking that deal either. I think so. Wait, what about you, Brett? Hutch is a no. I'm a no. Brandon's a no. You're still yes, Katie, despite all this.
Absolutely yes.
What about you, Brad?
That's ridiculous.
Okay.
I'd say no.
Okay.
I mean, the second thoughts, 360 copy of Assassin's Creed might not be worth it. So
no.
Are you gonna play it in the air?
Yeah. What are you gonna? That's what I mean. You have to get a plane that has a 360 or something.
What are you gonna do when you're playing your 360 copy of Assassin's Creed 2 and you fart and you go through the ceiling? Now you got to deal with property damage.
Yeah. I could go out on the street, be a street performer. Like, listen up, dudes. I can fucking fly. Think of all the money that could generate.
Right, but how are you going to enjoy your cash while your flatulence is putting you through the ceiling of your mansion because you're on the ground?
Katie Zen thinks he's going to turn into some celebrity or something.
What are you going to spend on when you are crippled by the constant fear of not knowing if you're going to die randomly?
Let me make an important clarification. So when he's saying control over the force of your flatulence, is that affecting like the frequency of your flatulence or just the force? Because like, I mean, and can you hold them in?
No, I don't think.
No, you have no control.
The point is, he says no control.
Okay.
And like you said, it might be Yankee Doodle. It could be rocket back through your digestive tract out your mouth, and you might launch it.
That one's super rare.
God,
I don't know, man. That all seems like I've always wanted to fly. And
all right. Hey, listen. You stick with your. I mean, don't listen.
Like,
you're clearly,
you could go anywhere. I mean, supersonic speed. You can travel the entire world. You would be a legend. You would be a god. You would be the farting flying man. you'd go down in history.
I think we've established that Katie Zen for fame would do and possess almost any kind of skill.
No. Fame is just one small part of it.
Okay. You want to be a legend.
I want to see the world. And like you can just go anywhere if you're flying. Think of the ability to dine and dash with this. Go in, get food, get Denny's, go to the bathroom, and oh my god, the power of flatulence there, it's over. Like that bathroom is a war zone.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways.
All right. So we're all against it, but Katie Zen's for it. So thank you, Love Muffin, for that. And with that, I believe we are done with your questions for now. I want to really thank you, Hutch, for coming on. It's been a blast.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, gentlemen.
Yeah. And you were on a quick, again, not that people need it, but go ahead and pimp your properties real quick I know you stream a lot on Twitch these days. You still got your YouTube going, but
it's
with the links.
YouTube.com/Hutch, Twitch TV/Hutch. And then on Twitter, it's at @ZomagadaTouch. But if you search Hutch, pretty sure it should be one of the first things that pop up.
He'll almost certainly be above Hutchinson 15 if you.
I was just gonna say you might find. Wow. Dang, dude.
Might just be a couple underneath me. I'm not sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. Better late than never, right?
Yeah. No, it was awesome, man. Thanks for coming on, and have a good rest of your night. See you later.
I will. Thanks, gentlemen. Adios.
See you, bud.
Later. Right. I forgot to ask him to follow me on Twitter. Shit.
God damn it.
I'm probably never going to
Katie, you're so again. Thirsty, dude. That's what I'm learning about.
I know.
You're a thirsty motherfucker. But no, that was great, man. It was good to finally have him on. That was fantastic. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well. And so I'm sorry, Katie Zen, we had to flip the script a little bit, but we did not forget about your very highly acclaimed and top-rated section, new releases.
I bet I would have followed you on Twitter if he had a chance to get to experience this new releases section.
I know. I just hope he's still listening, like he catches the end of this. Hutch, if you're there, I dedicate this this section to you. All right, listen, this new release section. Wow. This is one of the best new release weeks I've ever seen on Steam. Completely, honestly. Okay. Like in terms of indie games, there aren't really any AAA releases that much, but the indie games that are coming out this week are insane. So first things first, got to get this out of the way. The final piece of DLC for Dark Souls 3, the final piece of Dark Souls content after it being confirmed that Dark Souls 3 is going to be the last in the series, that comes out today at the time of this recording, comes out March 27th, according to Steam. It's, I think, 17 hours from now. But yeah, the final expansion for the game, the utter finale of Dark Souls is coming out. And I'm very, very excited. And I'm going to be streaming it tomorrow night. So if you want to, hop by.
Nice. There you go. Get the plug. I know I like it.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. But,
or if that's just listening to the audio version, it will be yesterday.
And watch the VOD. Or watch the YouTube video that you will no doubt make of the content, maybe.
Yes. Well, absolutely. Of course.
You can find all the YouTube content that Katie Zen makes on APL Fisher on YouTube.
So. Yeah, that's where I put all my work, But
but you're very excited, I can tell.
Yes.
Is there any? God. Do you know what's it's like? Do you have any idea what's content wise? Have they shown a lot, or is it kind of in the dark?
It's all. They always do this. They always really, really hint. Like I can tell just from reading the synopsis for about this content. It's just really, really hinting at some deep shit happening. Mm-hmm. I've seen I haven't really spoiled that much, but I saw the first trailer they did for it. Just the setting and the premise of this DLC kind of gives you the idea that this is going to be some big shit. And I really, really hope it's some good stuff. But we will find out in less than 24 hours.
Well, I mean, we already know the shape of the city, so that's a pretty big deal.
That's true. Yeah, it is the ringed city, so it's going to be pretty easy to navigate. You just go around in a circle. But all right. Anyways, so onto the indie games this week. This first one, would have loved to have Hutch still on here for this one because he loves chess. This game is called Microgons. It's an online 1v1 competitive kind of chess deal where your pieces are sort of like these little, I wouldn't call them Pokemon, they're like little creatures that have different abilities. And you collect them, you build teams. They have different ways of attacking. Like there's this thing that damages, shoots out a rocket that damages all surrounding pieces. There's this frog that can pull enemy pieces towards you. It's really touting itself as like completely no RNG, like all skill, high skill cap, and boards that are procedurally generated. I'm not sure. I feel like that means absolutely nothing. But yeah, this game, it looks really interesting. No word on a price. All I know is that the developer of this game is called Dog Hoggler.
I was just going to point that out. What on earth?
Yeah, that's
Dog Hoggler.
That is a 2017 game development name right there.
Wow. Amazing.
So, yeah, Microgons comes out March 27th, and this premise is pretty cool. So, yeah, I'm hoping it's good. Next up is this game. If you've ever wanted the definitive Zelda Link to the Past ripoff on Steam, this looks like it.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
That's the first thought you get. But upon more like further viewing, it looks actually very well polished.
Yeah,
like the retro style they're going for really has been done well. It looks pretty smooth. There's no bullshit, randomly generated roguelike, anything like that. It just looks like,
tags.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that comes out March 28th. It's called Blossom Tales: The Sleeping King. Yeah, this looks like my kind of game. Yeah, I mean, I love Link to the Past. There's yet to, and this looks like incredibly inspired by it, which I felt the same way about, Battlegrounds being, heavily inspired by H1, but I got past that. Hopefully I can get past it with this. But,
which you were wrong about because they licensed the game from the guy, literally the game type.
Yeah.
So it wasn't H1 first. They borrowed the game type from the guy who made it originally.
Well, next you're going to find out that Blossom Tales: The Sleeping King actually licensed Zelda.
Oh, so, I was just going to say that would really.
That's right.
That would really.
That's the twist here.
Man, I would have been so wrong in so many ways. But yeah, that comes out March 28th. Unfortunately, no word on a price. I always get that Coffence game, that coffee fighting game. That was $15.
Oh my God!
What a joke!
That's crazy.
Come on, so much potential there. Anyways, next up, I lost my place on the dock. This game is called Has Been Heroes. I would have normally, honestly, looking at this, I probably would have skipped over it. But it's made by Frozen Byte, who made all of the Trine games. They made Shadowgrounds. It's their newest game. It's also coming to PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. It's a, quote, challenging, lane-based roguelike game of strategy and action, which there's like lanes that you choose your soldiers to do attacks under. Just going by gameplay doesn't really look like my, typical game I would play, but what I'm really getting from this is just in terms of polish, this looks like a really well put together game. So, it hopefully, if you're into that kind of thing, it turns out well for you. But yeah, that comes out March 28th. And when you know it, there's more. We're halfway done. Next up, this game is called Snake Pass. This game looks fucking dope. You play as, it's like a physics kind of platformer game. You play as this goofy snake, slithering your way, hooking on to shit, trying to make your way through an environment, grabbing coins and everything. Like there'll be like some wood pipes kind of going on part of like a rotating machine to kind of, and so to cross the gap, you need to slither your snake into a way that it's like hooked onto the metal, so like it doesn't fall off by gravity. It looks like it controls fairly sort of heavy, but this is another. It's like a first time game from. Oh, actually, let me see it. Sumo Digital.
Slither your snake. I mean, actually, the concept looks actually really cool. I've never seen
it looks like a fun game. Yeah,
mechanic like that where you actually have a snake body to navigate like a platformer. That's really neat.
Yeah, it looks like just a fun, goofy, good time. No price yet, but this comes out March 28th. Looking for that. Snake Pass is what that's called. Next up, this game looks cool. This is called Swarm Universe. It's a kind of neon top-down shooter, which I immediately, kind of glanced over. But upon further inspection, it looks fucking dope. It's the whole point of it is being super modifiable for mods. You can like make different game modes where instead of just like making like an arena, you can make it into kind of like a racetrack kind of game. You can make mini games like trying to make a ball. There's like this at one point in the trailer. There's this really in-depth creator for making different creatures inside the game to kill you. And the way you attack enemies in this game is instead of shooting anything out of your guy in the top-down shooter, you have like a swarm that you move around your guy. So that just looks like a kind of unique way to control it. Games like this. It's also online. You can play with other people through different creations. It's going to all be uploaded onto Steam Workshop. So definitely a lot of potential with this game. Just thought I'd throw that in here. It's one to keep an eye out for. It might, hopefully this game gets picked. Ideally, this gets picked up by a lot of people and they're all working on making good stuff for it. But yeah, no price yet, but that comes out on March 30th. Last legit game we're looking at. This game is called Light It. It's really highly atmospheric. You can only see, so it's like a top-down kind of, almost a horror game. And you're on this island, but you would never tell it's an island from looking at it. If you're an audio listener, I definitely recommend looking this up on Steam. It's called Light It. It's a lot of work it went into the sound. That's a big part of it. Like hearing, like you're navigating through these environments. You can only see enemies through a flashlight, and when you turn away, they move towards you. It's kind of like the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who, and so you're like making your way through environments. It just looks like really heavily, or like a pretty heavy atmospheric game, which looks like. Just in like hearing the sound and like of the monsters like crunching through the grass outside of the house and making your way through. It looks like it could be pretty tense. Could be.
Looks like nightmare fuel to me. Like a weird dream. Like I'd be floating in this or some shit. It's kind of
for sure. Yeah, a really unique art style too.
Yeah.
But March 30th for that game. Before we get on to this last game, I just want to point out real quick. None of these have been added to the doc, but I wanted to. Every time I saw an open world, online multiplayer, crafting, hunting, survival game with hunger and water mechanics, I wanted to just count how many. And this week, they are releasing not one, not two, not three, but 4 different open world survival, killing other people. Essentially Rust clones.
Nice.
Those being, and they're all early access as well, of course. Mm-hmm. You have Project: Surviving, which its trailer is just the most generic stock music you can think of. It's such a joy to behold this trailer. I really recommend everybody. It's Project: Surviving on Steam. Please just watch the trailer. I can't do it any justice. It's so good. And then Dead Inside, like you get you're chopping down wood, you're making blueprints, you're hunting animals. It's Dead Inside, Don't Die Survival, and Exile to Death all coming out. It's just, I just thought that was interesting. Like,
yeah, that is
how saturated that little thing is. But last on this list, everybody listening right now, hop on Steam, type in Hound. This game. I'm going to read the bio here. Hound is not a game in a conservative way, but a powerful engine you can play, a system that can create a new, unique world for you to shape and conquer. And so from reading about this game, you start with an empty world, build an ecosystem, design your first organism, and throw it into the void. And it has some super advanced artificial intelligence that finds the strengths and weaknesses in your creature, gives it competition, and you kind of watch how life evolves in the game. And like they start growing waves, they develop communication for other things, and it's all these like weird, creepy polygon things. Like I see like these giant like tetrapod things crawling around, these like jellyfish. One of the trailers just shows these aliens that kind of look like, well, I mean, they're these creatures that kind of look like, you know, the pods from Arrival, and it shows this like giant mass swarming down and absorbing them, while there's this kind of turtle mass thing. It just looks like such a fucking bizarre thing. It's in early access.
Yeah, it's real weird looking.
Oh, yeah. It's one of the strangest, most unique games I've ever seen. And that comes out on March 28th. So, yeah, it's just pretty interesting. So, yeah, Hound, that game. And that's going to do it for this week's massive, big kahuna new releases. Thank you for having me. I've added so much of this to my wish list. Like, damn, that's the beautiful thing about going through, like, new releases. Like, there's so much gold you would have missed, you know? But
all right, there you go. Killed it. That's why you're here. That's why you do the dirty work for us. Thank you. Thank you, Katie.
Anytime.
All right.
All right.
All right, Brad, go ahead. Hit us with what's going on in KBMOD this week.
Not a whole lot. So we got a review from Chad on Shovel Knight, Spectre of Torment. It's a video review. Make sure to check it out. You can also go to our YouTube channel and watch it there. That's all for our site, but I just wanted to shout out to this one guy. He goes by the handle Lazo115.
Yes.
He literally got a KBMOD tattoo.
Yes, he did.
And that is crazy.
That is some serious KBMOD love right there, dude.
Yeah.
That's definitely a first, at least as far as I'm aware. I don't think anybody has sent me.
He posted it on Instagram, and I don't know, somebody from the community sent it to us, and he said, "Once a lifer, always a lifer," and basically, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's gonna be weird in like 40 years when we're all wearing VR headsets and there is no such thing as a keyboard anymore.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't. Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't
We
regret
just
it.
think in the words appear. Podcasts are just injections of information that we take every week.
Yep. Just get it. Oh man, the entire substance of a 3-hour podcast just in our minds. We know it instantly.
We all
that's
just
dedication.
one giant laugh at once.
Well, and also, I mean, there is no concept of time anymore.
That's true. Yeah, that's right. Dang. Okay.
Can't wait for
That's
that
it.
day.
All right. Very cool. We got a iTunes podcast review of the week this week to feature. We've been dry. We've been barren for a while, but somebody has come through, and that somebody is Tap127. He went on. He launched his iTunes. He logged in. He found the podcast, rated it 5 stars, as he should. And then he left what I'm about to read, and I am...
Actually, before you go into it,
Yeah.
do you have to have iTunes open on your desktop? Can you use your phone?
You might be able to use your... Honestly, you
use your
probably can.
Yeah, you
probably
can use your phone.
I've never tried
if you
it.
have an iPhone, yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go.
Oh, well,
Maybe even easier.
Did you
Use your phone.
explain? Did you explain how this review that you're about to discuss got featured in the first place, Scott?
No, I didn't. How did it get featured, Brandon?
Well, it's funny you should ask, because it's the reason it got featured is because
This was the only one.
that's not important here.
Oh, okay. I thought that's where you were going. But go ahead.
What I was going to say is that this review got featured because this review left us 5 stars. And
I did say that.
Okay, I'm just making sure that people know
double
that
up.
what you're about to say. Like, I think you need to understand how low the bar is here. Some weeks.
Yes, I think so. I think so. That is fair. No, but yes, he did the proper thing and rated the podcast 5 stars. It's what we deserve. It is what we require to read whatever you're going to send us, whether it's criticism, praise, whatever the fuck this is that I'm about to read. And so do that. And like I said, competition not that great right now. You know what? Katie Zen, we took him. We took the molded memes that he became, and we took him as a member of the podcast. So
we took the most prolific reviewer. So we kind of took one for the team when it comes to this section.
We did.
Yeah.
So we took him out of his element a little bit, but now that's people evolve. But you could be the new Katie Zen. I mean, it won't be as good, but you could usher a new era.
I mean, we're looking to
reviews
replace him as soon as possible. So
anyway, but we're holding triumphs. No, but be that person. Be that person to elevate the reviews to what they were when Katie Zen was doing them. Okay, somebody do it. I believe in you guys. All right.
Treat the review the way you'd want to be treated.
Yes. Okay.
I think maybe in like a symbol of maybe passing the torch.
Yeah.
I should read the review.
Okay. All right.
Let's do it.
Go ahead.
Unless you really want to.
No, go. Good luck.
This is all you.
Good luck.
All right, here we go. This review comes to us from Tap127. Title is, What's the next week of school going on tomorrow? So wait, did I read that correctly?
No.
What's the next week of school going on tomorrow so far?
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's a 5-star review.
Yes. Good luck.
Ooh. What's the better than the other one you have on your phone, but you're still on it right away, and I just got to see your peacock on tomorrow. And then you have a chance at your house tomorrow, and I have a lot to say. I love your dad, so I don't think you're going to do that tomorrow. All right. This looks like one of those things where he says one word, and then he keeps tapping like that middle button, like the suggestion when you're like typing.
I'm pretty sure that's what this is.
I'm almost 100% sure that's what it is, or No Tech, somebody that's in my chat quite frequently, has infiltrated under a different name.
This definitely looks like hitting the phone suggestions, because actually I was with dinner, or with people at dinner the other night, and they were literally doing this. So this definitely has all the markings of a phone suggestions review.
Yes. Right. So there you go. So
but, I mean, that shows how easy it is. You don't even have to have an original thought. Let your phone type it out for you.
Right. Okay. The bar is very low, as you can see. Again, Tap, thank you for the review, but the bar is very low. So send us something maybe not crafted by your phone. But if that's all you can muster, well, we might read it.
I could find some deeper meaning in this. It's possible that this is just how he feels. He's clearly got some very different thoughts about tomorrow. Like tomorrow is a pretty important
loves your dad,
day.
And he loves somebody's dad. I'm not sure whose dad, but yes. Maybe he's so filled with love for his friend's dad that he had trouble writing out exactly what he meant or what he feels. Could be.
I think
that dad love is a strong thing.
Like the thing that's getting me though is he's talking in the past tense and the future tense at the same time. I just got to see your peacock on tomorrow. So it's like I can't tell if it's actually tomorrow or if it's like a figurative tomorrow that's actually already happened.
Yeah, now you're right. Okay.
Because he's saying you have a chance at your house tomorrow. I love your dad, so I don't think you're going to do that tomorrow. It almost sounds like he's reliving a memory.
Wow, when you put it like that.
Maybe
you're right.
Maybe this is actually something he meant to type out.
This could be a cry for help, or
it could be
him just trying to articulate.
I was just thinking, if you do the phone auto-complete thing, it really says a lot about like what you're talking about in your everyday conversations.
Yeah,
right?
That's like peacock, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that be one of the words?
He's talking about cock a lot, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does say P. Yeah, I think it probably autocorrected to cock or whatever, or replaced with cock or suggested, and he added P on it to make it not seem weird. Maybe.
I bet you're right. I bet this.
Do you know what I mean? Because why would peacock be a suggested word? That's kind of.
It's not like it's a relevant meme or anything.
There's probably some manicuring going on here after the fact.
I think so. I think he's tending his suggested words lawn.
I just got to see your peacock.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, between I just got to see your peacock and I love your dad. I mean, I think we know what his messages are.
You can read between the lines. Oh my God. Good Lord. All right. Well, there you go. So send us something for next week. But yeah, I think that's been it. That was a really fun cast. I'm really glad we finally got Hutch on after 270 episodes. Had a lot of good discussions, and so I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you want, tweet him and tell him you appreciate him coming on the cast. And yeah, so thank you to him. You can follow all of us, of course, on Twitter. But first, I need to tell you that you can go to kbmod.com. We have a website, believe it or not. And there's, like we said, there's a lot of great things on there. Use the multi-stream, check out the articles, and get involved in some way if you would like to, whether that's just passively reading articles. That's fine too. KBMOD Gaming is KBMOD, at KBMOD Gaming, on Twitter. You can follow us there for updates. Brad is at Hutchison15. Not at oh my God, it's Hutch, though I hear that if he ever changes his handle, that you were going to camp on that pretty fast, Brad. I've heard you say that before. So you can follow KDZen at KDZen18. Volition is at 111111. No, I'm kidding. He's at VOL1TION. Actually, the more I've said VOL1TION, Brandon, I see what you did. It kind of rolls off the VOL1TION. It's almost, it has a little bit of a little singy gait to it. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it doesn't take much explanation.
It doesn't. I am at APL Fisher, and we are at the end of this episode of the podcast. But thanks so much for listening, and we will see you guys next week. Farewell.
Later.
やった